Chapter 38. Seeing that help had arrived, Uchiya's panicked expression immediately became arrogant. His morale for battle also became full of confidence. The other side had 2 people while he had 20 people behind him, as well as the Uchi family's elite guards. Why would he be afraid of a waste and a second young master Mu? Yiqing Luo Mu Zifei. Today this young master will let you see the consequences of messing around with the Tai Sui's head. Uchiya's longsword cut through the air like a streak of azure light, carrying the chill of a sword. In a split second, the entire sky was covered in lightning and thunder, sealing off Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei from all directions. Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei looked at each other. When they saw the smile that flashed in the other's eyes, they coincidentally hooked the corners of their lips. A murderous aura floated in Yiqing Luo's eyes, and the folding fan in her sleeve flipped at her fingertips. The tip of her toes touched the ground, and her figure immediately transformed into an afterimage. Mu Zifei's longsword condensed profound qi and slashed down horizontally. With each slash, the earth seemed to shake red like thunder. He opened a path for Yiqing Luo. When Uchiya's 20 guards saw this, they rushed forward in unison. Profound qi soared to the sky, and the surrounding common people's stalls and tables were all overturned. Items smashed onto the ground and shattered into pieces. At first, when Mu Zifei and Uchiya fought, they didn't harm the common people. These 20 people moved together, and immediately, the entire street was filled with screams and clamor. The folding fan in Yiqing Luo's hand was like a sharp blade, spinning at high speed at her fingertips. Her acuity was extremely high, her speed was extremely fast, and she also possessed the unique footwork she learned in her previous life. Several profound practitioners didn't even have time to make a move when they felt a chill on their necks, and they already fell to the ground. Quick! Stop her! The 9th mystic profound grade middle-aged man shouted sternly. His palm moved and split open the blade qi created by Mu Zifei. Immediately, he pulled out a sharp broadsword from his waist and chopped at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's brows raised, and she retreated a few steps with her toes. She dodged to the side and avoided the blade wave. With a boom, the middle-aged man's broadsword chopped out countless blade shadows where she was just standing. The 9th grade of the mystic profound realm could already be ranked amongst the powerhouses of the West Wave continent. Naturally, his reaction was extremely fast. After slashing the air again, he immediately leapt up. The huge sword was incomparably vicious, aiming straight for Yiqing Luo's vital point. Your opponent is me. Suddenly Mu Zifei, who was surrounded and attacked by more than 10 guards, sent his saber qi flying. He released a big move and broke through the human wall. His white clothes fluttered in the wind, his long hair fluttered in the wind, his long blade crisscrossed. The profound qi released a resplendent blade light, fiercely colliding with the middle-aged man's blade. The 2 blade auras collided at the same time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo's footwork was strange, and in just a few steps, she had already passed through the middle-aged man's encirclement. Her goal was to directly take action against Uchiya. There were only 2 of them, so they had to capture the ringleader first. As long as Uchiya was restrained, who among those 20 or so people would still dare to move? This was also the stratagem that she saw in Mu Zifei's eyes when their eyes met. The cooperation between the 2 was so tacit. It was as if he had practiced this countless times. With just a few glances, he was able to understand the other party's thoughts. Under the protection of those 20 or so people, Uchiya naturally relaxed his vigilance. He simply didn't expect that Yiqing Luo, a trash without the slightest bit of profound qi, would actually approach him under the eyes of 2 9th grade mystic profound grade and 4 4th grade mystic profound grade guards. Suddenly, Uchiya felt a chill run down his spine. Chapter 39. Uchiya immediately turned his head, then came face to face with Yiqing Luo's charming eyes. That country-toppling appearance revealed a cold smile, as if ridiculing his cowardice and incompetence. Then he saw Yiqing Luo raise a middle finger towards him. Although Uchiya didn't understand that meaning, from Yiqing Luo's expression, he could see that it was absolutely looking down on him. Very clearly, Yi Qing Luo was indeed looking down on him. This was provocation and contempt. Everyone attack. Yuchiya couldn't stand the provocation, and immediately pointed at Yi Qing Luo in an uncontrollable rage, commanding the surrounding guards. As long as you capture this little trash alive, this young master will heavily reward you. His subordinates immediately rushed towards Yi Qing Luo. Yuchiya quickly retreated, vigilantly retreating out of the battle. In his mind, he recalled Yi Qing Luo's bloodthirsty provocative smile, and his back involuntarily turned cold. Impossible. There were more than 20 guards in the surroundings, forming a defensive line in front of him. Even if Mu Zifei was there, he could at most block the mystic profound 9th-grade middle-aged man. Once he was entangled by the middle-aged man, even if Mu Zifei wanted to free up his hands to help Yi Qing Luo, he would probably be powerless. Want to make a move on him, under the watchful eyes of everyone? Impossible. Numerous guards surrounded Yi Qing Luo, but in the blink of an eye, they had already lost all traces of Yi Qing Luo. What kind of sorcery did that witch use? Can a person really disappear into thin air? Protect fourth young master. Protect fourth young master. That mystic profound 9th-grade guard, who had always been protecting Yuchiya at his side, sternly berated. He deeply furrowed his brows, his gaze sharply surveying the surroundings. Why? He couldn't feel the slightest profound chi fluctuation from Yi Qing Luo's body. But her speed was unexpectedly fast to the point where he couldn't even catch her? The guards uniformly turned back and surrounded Yuchiya's direction. At this time, a powerful blade chi pressed forward. A white silhouette leapt into the crowd, long blade dancing, with a kind of ferocious imposing manner, completely evading the surrounding guards. It was Mu Zifei. He didn't know when he broke away from that middle-aged man's entanglement and rushed towards Yuchiya. Another 9th-rank protector immediately blocked in front of Yuchiya, colliding head-on with Mu Zifei's attack. Yuchiya only took a small step back. Suddenly, a folding fan appeared on his neck. The icy cold air carried with it a sense of fear, as if one's life was being taken away. Yuchiya's body instantly went taut. How could he still dare to move even half a step? Yi Qing Luo's sweet and bewitching voice rang in his ears, like an azura from hell, incomparably cold. Fourth young master Yuchi, are you going to stop or die? It was obviously just a folding fan, but in Yi Qing Luo's hands, Yuchiya seemed to feel that it was a sharp blade, sticking to his neck. A chill ran down his spine, and a chill of fear welled up from the bottom of his heart. How did she avoid the defense of more than 20 people, and get close to him in an instant? Her speed was so strange and shocking. You dare to kill me? This young master is Yuchi. Before he finished speaking, that folding fan had already approached Yuchiya's blood vessels. A tingling sensation made Yuchiya suck in a breath of cold air. Stop! All of you stop for this young master! He repeatedly screamed involuntarily. The surrounding 20 people all stopped what they were doing. The ordinary guards were endlessly dazed, and those several mystic profound and above guards' complexions immediately turned ashen. Chapter 40. Under their eyelids, Yi Qing Luo had restrained Yuchiya. This was simply a slap to their faces. With just a turn, Yi Qing Luo had already approached. This wasn't just because of the speed. Yi Qing Luo didn't have any profound chi, so they couldn't sense her presence from her profound chi fluctuations. But her speed was fast and nimble. It would bring along the wind. The wind would easily expose a person's target. However, Yi Qing Luo's approach was completely silent. Without any flaws, she didn't give them any chance to react at all. After Yi Qing Luo succeeded, Mu Zifei immediately stopped and returned to Yi Qing Luo's side. Yi Qing Luo, let go of my young master. The guard's eyes were sinister as he pointed at Yi Qing Luo. If you dare to touch a single hair on our young master, our Yuchi family will make sure you die without knowing how. Yi Qing Luo sneered as her fingers lifted Yuchiya's chin. Blood had already seeped out from a spot on his neck. You can try and see if this young patriarch dares. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up slightly as her fingers holding the fan moved randomly. With each movement, Yuchiya felt a burst of stinging pain, like the pain of a blade cutting through his skin. He was so shocked that he repeatedly shouted, his face full of fear. You stop. Stop. Yuchi family is really imposing, actually daring to openly despise my Three Springs sect, despise the Mu family. Yiqing Luo actually stopped, her charming eyes staring straight at the guard. Is the Yuchi family preparing to rebel and want to become the #1 family in the Western continent? The guard's expression congealed. Such a big hat would easily arouse the vigilance of the other families towards the Yuchi family. Just as he was about to answer, he saw Yiqing Luo's fan move closer to Yuchiya's neck. That pair of cold and enchanting eyes was warning him. He wanted to explain, but didn't dare to open his mouth. If he didn't explain, he was afraid that if someone with ulterior motives heard, this Yuchi family would once again stir up great waves. Brilliant! Yiqing Luo's move was really brilliant. The two middle-aged guards looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This Yi family's 7th miss seemed to have changed into another person. For a moment, both sides were in a deadlock. Yuchi family's ability has indeed grown, actually daring to cause trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. A clear voice came from afar. A man dressed in luxurious blue robes walked over with his hands behind his back. His figure was tall and slender, and his face was handsome and refined. His entire body emitted a scholarly aura. Yiqing Luo followed the direction of the voice. When he met that pair of smiling azure eyes, a surprised expression appeared on his face. Wasn't this the man whom she had borrowed, the fan from outside the Three Springs sect? I didn't expect to meet him here. Big brother, why are you here? Suddenly, they heard Mu Zifei shout at the man beside them. The man raised his eyebrows slightly, and a bright smile appeared on his handsome face. If anything happens to you, father and mother will be talking about me. It's not like I can't handle things. Mu Zifei's expression was displeased, but a smile overflowed from between his brows. It could be seen that the two brothers had a very good relationship. As they were talking, the man had already crossed the crowd and stood between Yiqing Luo and the guard. I, Mu Zifan, am the eldest son of the Mu family, and also the owner of Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. If you insist on touching my people in my territory, then the Mu family will accompany you to the end. Chapter 41. The two middle-aged guards spread open their arms and pushed the 20 guards behind them back a few steps. The Yuchi family doesn't want to become enemies with the Mu family. Our 4th young master's target is only the Yi family's 7th Mississippi. If the two young masters of the Mu family make things convenient and hand over the Yi family's 7th miss, we will leave immediately. I won't intervene in the grievances between the Yuchi family and the 7th Mississippi. Although Mu Zifan was smiling, there wasn't the slightest hint of a smile between his brows. Big brother! Mu Zifei hurriedly shouted, knitting his brows tightly. How can you not? Mu Zifan raised his hand and stopped him. A pair of cold eyes coldly looked at that guard. But the 4th young master is in my pristine elixir medicine hall looking for trouble with the 7th Mississippi. Then I have no choice but to intervene. You! The middle-aged guard was so angry that he couldn't speak for a long time. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Either kneel down and apologize to this young master, or this young master will send you to hell. Yiqing Luo listened to both sides negotiate back and forth, but no one asked her opinion. Yuchiya was in her hands. The ones who should be afraid, should shrink back, was the Yuchi family, and not the people on her side. She didn't need to negotiate with the Yuchi family at all. Yiqing Luo, don't bully intolerably. Yuchiya's complexion immediately turned ashen. Make him kneel? In this life, apart from the current monarch, no one could make him kneel. Am I bullying people? What I'm bullying is nothing but an animal. Yiqing Luo sneered. The look in Yuchiya's eyes was ruthless. His facial features twisted as if he couldn't wait to cut Yiqing Luo into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly, he felt the coldness on his neck once again stick to his skin. His body tensed up and didn't dare to move. I'll count to 3, you choose. Yiqing Luo's eyebrows rose, a bit charming. That pair of charming eyes flashed with a dazzling flowing light. She slightly leaned forward, her pink lips hooked into an enchanting arc, and directly jumped out a word at Yuchiya's ear. 3. With a plop sound, Uchiya kneeled on the ground. Almost subconsciously, when Uchiya came back to his senses, he was already kneeling on the ground. Yi, Ching, fall. Uchiya's entire body trembled. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails were already embedded into his flesh. He hated himself for being weak and useless, and hated Yi Qing Luo's craftiness. She actually made use of his fear and deliberately skipped 1 and 2 after saying 3, and directly counted to 3. Because Yi Qing Luo was very clear that he treasured his life. As for her, killing him would be a piece of cake. Alright, 7th young Mississippi. Today, consider this matter dropped for my sake. At this time, Mu Zifan walked over and lightly patted Uchiya's shoulder. Yi Qing Luo raised her brows and let go of her hand. Alright, this young matriarch shall give you this face. Today's matter. This young matriarch shall treat it as if nothing had happened. Mu Zifan faintly nodded. He single-handedly grabbed Uchiya's shoulder, smiling warmly. My 2 guards, since 7th young miss has already decided not to pursue your wrongdoings, this matter ends here. Lead your young master, and get lost from pristine elixir medicine shop. He casually tossed Uchiya, who weighed 100 kilograms, out as if he was throwing away garbage. Those 2 middle-aged guards were so angry that their complexions darkened. The light in their eyes was gloomy, and they leapt up one after another, catching Uchiya. 1 on the left, 1 on the right, they supported Uchiya's arms on both sides. Chapter 42. What was meant by treat it as if nothing had happened? What was meant by 7th young lady wouldn't pursue their wrongdoings? What was meant by this matter would end here? Could they still have some face? Uchiya fiercely clenched his teeth, his eyes brimming with killing intent. It was as if he had already forgotten that he was the first to provoke Yi Qing Luo. Mu Zifan took out a token from his waist and said with a light smile, apart from my identity as the eldest son of the Mu family, I am also the young chief of the Alchemist's Guild. That token was the size of a palm, and was golden in color. The word medicine was clearly visible. The 2 middle-aged guards opened their mouths, but no one listened to Uchiya's words, and went to arrest him. Alchemist Guild. Who didn't know how powerful the Alchemist Guild was? The Alchemist Guild was one of the top powers in Nirvana realm. They specialized in recruiting alchemists, and covered the entire Nirvana realm. Although alchemists weren't common, there were still 2,000 to 3,000 of them gathered together. Every continent also had a division of the Alchemy Union. Don't look at the number of people in the Alchemist Guild, as compared to other large powers. But this Alchemist Guild was the target that countless large families wanted to curry favor with. They had countless supporting powers behind their backs. The Alchemist Guild's objective was, 1 person, 1 medicine, to rule the world. Unexpectedly, Mu family's Mu Zifan was actually the Alchemist Guild's young chief. If they provoked the Alchemist Guild, just 1 word, and there would be countless powers pouring out to work for the Alchemist Guild. What are you guys still standing here for? Go for this young master. If anything happens, put it all on this young master's head. Uchiya was so angry that he lost his head. How could he care if he was some young chief or young sect master? His mind was only filled with the desire to kill these 3 people. 4th young master. Even if master came, he would still have to be courteous when he sees the young chief. The middle-aged guard whispered in Uchiya's ear. Uchiya's fierce expression suddenly froze. Children who relied on their fathers relied on their fathers. Once they heard that their fathers also had to be courteous, the child who relied on their fathers became terrified. 4th young master. Let's go back first and report this matter to master. Let master take revenge for you. The guard gave an idea. All right. Uchiya clenched his fist and forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. Today, this young master will give you a way out, and let you off this time. I will definitely make you suffer the consequences. Throwing down these ruthless words, Uchiya dejectedly left under the escort of the guards. Mu Zifei excitedly rushed to Mu Zifan's side, his eyes filled with excitement. Big brother, you took the Young Alliance Master's command token. The Alchemy Union was all about strength. If one wanted to become the Alchemy Union's Union Master, They would need to have both a moral character and alchemy ability. As for the Junior Alliance chief, he had to go through layers of selections and tests before finally becoming the future Alliance chief of the Alchemist Alliance. Yiqing Luo sorted out the Alchemist Guild's matters in her memory, and the gaze which she shot towards Mu Zifan was filled with some probing intent. Coincidentally, Mu Zifan looked over. He was caught peeping. Yiqing Luo had no intention to conceal, but instead openly sized him up. Seventh young lady, as the saying goes, no discord, no concord. I really appreciate your attitude. How about we become friends? Mu Zifan asked with a faint smile. Yiqing Luo's slender brows raised slightly as she pretended to be disappointed inside. I thought we were already considered as friends. It turns out that eldest young master Mu only treats me as a friend now. Mu Zifan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chapter 43. There was something fishy. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Just as Mu Zifei was abnormally serious and was about to ask questions, he saw Yiqing Luo folding the fan in her hand and handing it to Mu Zifan. Thank you for lending me the fan, it helped me a lot. Yiqing Luo slightly raised her charming eyes and revealed a sincere smile. Mu Zifan took the fan, opened it and closed it again. Why did 7th Miss think of using a fan as a weapon? The way you hold the fan is very skilled. Has 7th Miss been good at using a fan since young? No wonder he was the young chief. His insight was simply too strong. To be able to easily see through her fan technique, he must have practiced it since young. She was surprised and apprehensive in her heart, but still had a sweet smile on her face. A fan is light enough, inconspicuous, relatively convenient, and can be easily held. Therefore, using a fan as a weapon is the first choice. As for the question of whether she had been practicing with a fan since young, Yiqing Luo directly avoided it and didn't answer. Mu Zifan was a smart person, and naturally wouldn't continue to ask. Who knew why Yiqing Luo became so powerful overnight after being useless for more than 10 years? He was also too lazy to delve into these unimportant questions. Right now, what he was most clear about was that he and Yiqing Luo weren't enemies. Just knowing this was enough. At this time, Yi Fengyu, under the shopkeeper's lead, walked over with a face full of apprehension, especially when he saw the two young masters of the Mu family were also at the side. His resolute legs suddenly froze in place. The embarrassment on his face was obvious. Have you finished getting the medicine? Yiqing Luo stepped forward and put one hand on his back, patting him in relief. Yi Fengyu stuffed the rolled-up medicine list into Yiqing Luo's hands. His young and handsome face tolerated shyness. Yes, I have. Yiqing Luo was calm and spread out the medicine list. There were several wrinkles on the medicine list. It was estimated that when Yi Fengyu took the medicine, his heart was tangled. Mu Zifan's peripheral vision swept over the medicine list, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. 7th Miss bought so many medicinal ingredients. Is it for refining medicine? There were at least hundreds of medicinal ingredients on that medicine list. What kind of prescription actually needed so many medicinal ingredients? It's used for alchemy. Yiqing Luo had no intention to hide as she nodded. 7th young lady, you're also an alchemist? When Mu Zifei heard this, he moved closer and lowered his head to look at the medicine list. At that moment he was completely stunned. He swiftly snatched the medicinal list over and gazed at the astonishing medicinal herbs on the list as his lips twitched. Yiqing Luo, you don't have to do this. He said that the medicinal herbs were all exempted, but he had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so thick-skinned and shameless, with no intention of standing on ceremony at all. He simply wished that he could carry pristine elixir medicine shop away with him. That's enough. 7th young lady has suffered so much at pristine elixir medicine hall today. Take these medicinal herbs as an apology. Mu Zifan pulled Mu Zifei behind him and made a shu gesture at him. Immediately following that, he drew out a golden token, and with a flick of his finger, that token flew directly towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo received it with a flip of her hand and saw that the palm-sized token was somewhat similar to Mu Zifan's young chief token at first glance. It's just that this palm-sized token was imprinted with the word, Alchemist Guild. This is the Alchemist Guild's pass, take it. If you want to come to the Alchemist Guild in the future, you can look for me anytime. Chapter 44. The Alchemist Guild's pass wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. In the entire Nirvana continent, there were no more than 500 people who possessed this pass. These 500 people were all people of virtue and prestige, people who were worthy of respect. She didn't expect that Mu Zifan would actually give this pass to her. Yi Qing Luo felt his sincerity. She hooked her lips and put the pass at her waist. You were robbed of several hundred medicinal ingredients, and still have to give an Alchemist Guild pass. Seventh young lady, my big brother treats you really well. Mu Zifei winked and smiled. Mu Zifan smiled calmly. I will always be attentive to any talented alchemist. You will definitely be a very good alliance leader. Yi Qing Luo smiled. If I have nowhere to go in the future, perhaps I will really rely on you. At that time, I hope you won't despise me for being stupid. The three exchanged a few words before Mu Zifan received a letter from the Alchemist Guild and left midway. Yi Qing Luo also said her goodbyes and prepared to return to the residence with her brother. Mu Zifei sent them away from pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. Just as they reached the entrance, he said, if Yuchiya comes to find trouble with you again, he can directly come to the Mu family to find me. My big brother is always in the Alchemist Guild, and may not see him every 2 to 3 days. I will. Right now the three of us are stepping on the same boat. If I have something, of course I won't be polite. Mu Zifei rolled his eyes. You really don't know how to be polite. I have never been polite to my friends. The implication was that in her heart, she had already regarded the two Mu brothers as her friends. Mu Zifei couldn't help but laugh. No wonder his big brother, who had always been a loner, would be interested in such a little girl. This girl's character was indeed too likable. That pass, you take good care of it. Its use is absolutely not as simple as being unimpeded in the Alchemist Guild. He suddenly lowered his voice and solemnly said, just as my big brother said, in an emergency, that pass can save your life. Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes rose into a curved arc, making her appearance even more elegant and beautiful. I hope there will not be a time when I need to use the pass. After leaving pristine Elixir Medicine Hall, Yi Fengyu's expression was still stunned and unable to recover. Yi Qing Luo slapped the back of his head. What are you thinking about? Give me the herbs. Yi Fengyu rubbed his head and cried out in pain. Sister, when did you become so strong? Why are the two young masters of the Mu family so attentive to you? Was there a need to give away the Alchemy Union's token just to make friends? Could it be that they've fallen for you? Before he could finish his words, he felt a knock on his head. Let's go home and refine medicine. Yi Fengyu clutched his head as he took off the ring in his hand and passed it to Yi Qing Luo with an aggrieved expression. He stored all the medicinal ingredients in this interspatial ring. There were 3 interspatial rings in the profound phoenix ring. Yi Qing Luo took one out and passed it to her brother. When they returned to the Yi family, Yi Qing Luo poured out the medicinal herbs and swiftly sorted them into different categories before keeping them into the profound phoenix ring. Then he gave the spatial ring to Yi Fengyu. He also warned him not to expose his wealth, especially the rare space ring. He had to be even more careful. After driving Yi Fengyu out of the abandoned courtyard, Yi Qing Luo lay on the bed and immediately sent her consciousness into the Azure Dew bracelet. According to the page of the 100 Medicines Pill Refining Manual, Yi Qing Luo began to refine pills. Chapter 45. Yi Qing Luo sat cross-legged on the ground with a huge cauldron in front of her. The 4 corners of the cauldron didn't touch the ground and were suspended in the air. Yi Qing Luo handed over the herbs bit by bit according to the prescription and casually replied, I want to help Xiaoyu refine his profound jade heart. The profound grade was extremely difficult to break through, especially the profound jade heart. Some people spent their entire lives and were only one step away from the next level of profound jade heart, but were unable to break through. Yi Qing Luo could see that her brother only lacked a little bit of opportunity, and this opportunity lay in her. As long as the pill was successfully refined, her brother's profound jade heart would definitely break through. And Ziling, that lass, she is very loyal to me. I want to cure her leg. Yi Qing Luo took another medicine list and glanced at it quickly. This was the muscle recovery pill from the 100 medicines pill. After taking it, it could quickly repair damaged muscles and external injuries. In her memory, Ziling's leg was broken by Yi Qing Ling when she was 7 or 8 years old in order to protect her. This was because when Ziling sold herself to bury her father, she begged her mother to use the money she earned from embroidery for more than 10 days to bury Ziling's father. She even brought Ziling back to the Three Springs sect. The little girl knew how to repay kindness and wholeheartedly treated Yi Qing Luo as her benefactor. For Yi Qing Luo, even if she lost her life, she wouldn't hesitate. Yi Qing Luo had never been stingy towards those who were loyal to her. These 2 herbs with your current grade are enough to successfully refine them. You just need to control the amount and the fire. Old Man Song smiled and nodded, his eyebrows curved as he stroked his white beard. What he admired the most was Yi Qing Luo's importance to her own people. This girl looked like she was indifferent to everything. But in fact, she was an extremely good girl. This temperament was somewhat similar to that person in his memory. He thought too far in the future. Old Man Song shook his head and restrained the complicated thoughts in his mind. He smilingly watched Yi Qing Luo's refining steps. Alchemy required a lot of patience. The most taboo was to be impatient. Yi Qing Luo had refined for at least a month in the Azure Dew bracelet, which was equivalent to 3 days in the outside world. Her mind was affected by the violent banging on the door outside. It was the most crucial time to refine the pill, so it was impossible for Yi Qing Luo to come out from the Azure Dew bracelet. She tried her best to calm down and control the fire in her heart. The ones knocking on the door were Ziling and Yi Fengyu. After knocking and banging for a long time, he did not hear any movement from inside the house. Yi Fengyu was anxious. He raised his palm and chopped down. The huge wooden door was smashed into pieces. The 2 of them rushed into the room and were about to shout Yi Qing Luo's name. Ziling screamed and pointed at the bed. He saw Yi Qing Luo lying flat on the bed. Her entire body was emitting a blazing flame-like glow. That ray of red light wrapped around Yi Qing Luo. As soon as they got closer, they could feel a scorching heat. It was as if it was going to melt everything around it. Miss, what happened to Miss? This was the first time Ziling had seen such a situation. She was so shocked that her legs gave way and she fell to the ground. Yi Fengyu narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up his sister's expression. In any case, he was a student of the academy. Yi Fengyu stared at her for a long time before saying, "Elder sister must have extracted her divine sense and entered her divine sense space to refine pills. That's why elder sister's body is emitting the flames of refining pills." Chapter 46. No. Yi Fengyu lowered his voice, not wanting to disturb Yi Qing Luo. He pulled Ziling back to the door, frowning slightly. The greatest taboo for an alchemist is to be disturbed, especially when refining pills with divine sense. The danger is even greater. Failure in refining pills was a small matter. What was feared was that it would hurt the alchemist's body, and even more serious might cause damage to the alchemist's divine sense. Ziling anxiously stirred her fingers. Then what should we do? Those people from the Yuchi family are too overbearing. We can't stop them. Just as she was speaking, outside the courtyard, there were already countless sounds of hurried footsteps. The door of the abandoned courtyard was banging loudly. There were also a few dignified voices shouting and cursing. "Yi Qing Luo, don't hide inside like a turtle. Since you dare to hurt our 4th young master, you should have the guts to bear our anger. Yi Qing Luo, get out here. I will let you know the consequences of going against the Yuchi family." These shouting and cursing voices were very unfamiliar. There was also Yi Tianquang's angry low voice. "Evil creature. Quickly open the door, otherwise don't blame me for breaking in." Hearing Yi Tianquang's voice, Yi Fengyu was stunned for a moment. It was actually his father. Very quickly he understood. It turned out that his father had betrayed his sister and wanted to hand her over to the Yuchi family. Yi Fengyu's eyes flashed with anger, his 5 fingers clenched tightly. He really couldn't understand why his father always targeted his sister. Even if his sister was a waste, unable to cultivate profound qi. But after all, wasn't she his daughter? It was said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. But his father didn't care about his sister's life at all. For a moment, Yi Fengyu felt complicated. In his heart, he felt even more guilty towards Yi Qingluo. Born from the same mother, twin sisters, he enjoyed the treatment of the Yi family's young master in the front yard. But his sister was living a life worse than that of a servant. Anger welled up in his heart. He strode to the abandoned courtyard's door and opened it. Outside the door stood 3 middle-aged men. The man at the forefront wore a navy blue robe, with a golden silk belt hanging from his waist. And at a glance it was obvious that it wasn't an ordinary pendant. His face was full of majesty and his aura was aggressive. As for the 2 people behind him, they were the ones Yi Fengyu had seen that day. The 2 ninth-grade mystic profound realm guards. Yi Tianquang stood behind the 3 people, his face ashen. At his side was the steward of the 3 Springs sect, Yi Changwei. The moment the door opened, they wanted to rush in. When Yi Tianquang saw that it was Yi Fengyu, he frowned. Yi Changwei was very good at grasping Yi Tianquang's mood changes. He immediately said, "8th young master, you are the Yi clan's 8th young master. How could you come to this kind of place?" As he spoke, he stepped forward to grab Yi Fengyu's hand. Yi Fengyu's cold eyes swept over, and he waved his palm to strike Yi Changwei's hand. Yi Changwei's profound rank was higher than his, but he did not dare to counterattack, and could only avoid Yi Fengyu's palm energy. "You also know that this is such a place?" Yi Fengyu suppressed his anger and glared at Yi Tianquang. "Father, I am the 8th young master of the Yi clan. Staying in this abandoned courtyard is an insult to my identity. Then have you ever thought that the person living in this abandoned courtyard is the 3 Springs sect's young matriarch, the Yi family's first daughter, Yi Qingluo? You're," Yi Tianquang sternly berated. "Pay attention to who you are talking to." How could he have expected that Yi Fengyu, who had always been obedient, would use this kind of attitude to question him because of Yi Qingluo? Didn't Yi Fengyu always detest and loathe Yi Qingluo the most? Chapter 47. Sister, why are you? When Yi Fengyu heard this voice, he turned around in astonishment. He saw Yi Qingluo striding elegantly and slowly walking over. That red dress, as she walked, her skirt fluttered like a blooming rose. On that unparalleled face hung a light smile, captivating one's soul. "Ziling, tomorrow hang a signboard for me. On it write livestock not allowed. Hang it above the main door." Yi Qingluo walked over and gestured towards the door. "Yes, Miss Ling, or will go prepare now." Yi Tianquang clenched his teeth in anger, angrily pointing at Yi Qingluo. Unable to restrain his anger, he roared, "Evil girl! You dare to insult me!" Yi Qingluo rolled her eyes. "Father, I can't do anything about it." "You!" Yi Tianquang's wantonly anger and hatred in his heart slowly surged up. "So this is the discipline of your 3 Springs sect, actually allowing the younger generation to offend their superiors." It really broadened this old man's horizons. The middle-aged man standing at the forefront glanced at Yi Tianquang with eyes full of ridicule. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his face lose light. He gritted his teeth in shame and indignation. "Steward Yuchi, I didn't teach properly. Today I will hand over this evil girl to you. You can punish her." Steward Yuchi sneered, waved his hand, and 2 mystic profound grade 9 protectors were about to enter the broken courtyard to capture her. "Let me see who dares to enter." Yi Fengyu was anxious. He took out a long knife from his spatial ring and held it tightly in his hand. He stood in front of Yi Qingluo, his eyes staring fiercely at the person in front of him. "Today's matter is clearly your 4th young master's fault. You want my sister to take the blame? No way. Come over here." Yi Tianquang's expression became increasingly dark. He cast a sidelong glance at Yi Changwei. Yi Changwei understood. A palm wind came out, wanting to scare Yi Fengyu. This palm had yet to move. Suddenly a cold wind attacked, a sharp pain in his wrist. The sound of bones breaking was extremely crisp. The scene was silent for a few moments. Immediately after was Yi Chongwei's painful scream. A slender white hand slowly slid down from Yi Chongwei's arm. His wide red sleeves fluttered in the wind. Yi Chongwei hugged his right hand and knelt on the ground. His entire face twisted in pain. Everyone's gazes fell onto Yi Qingluo in unison. His eyes were filled with disbelief. She was at least 4 to 5 steps away from Yi Chongwei. Between them was Yi Fengyu, Steward Yuqi, and the guards. But when exactly did she get close to Yi Chongwei and pinched his wrist? No one knew. Just what kind of movement technique was this? How could it be so strange? It was so strange that it made one's hair stand on end. Steward Yuqi's face was gloomy. He had heard the guards talking about Yi Qingluo's strange movements. After seeing it with his own eyes, he knew that the guards were not exaggerating. He raised his guard, in case Yi Qingluo silently appeared around him. Insubordination? In front of my lord father. You actually dare to make a move against the son of the first wife? Are you tired of living? Yi Qingluo snorted coldly. Soon after, she raised her eyes and met Yi Tianquang's angry eyes in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Lord father, you don't need to thank your daughter too much. Your daughter, as the young matriarch of Three Springs sect, naturally has the right to rectify Three Springs sect's conduct. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he trembled. Oh, that's right. Three Springs sect has a matriarch like father. No wonder Three Springs sect's development is declining more and more. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. Her cold and arrogant gaze swept over the 3 people from the Yuqi family. The corners of her mouth hooked into a bloodthirsty cold arc. Chapter 48. Xiaoyu, teach this servant who doesn't understand etiquette a lesson. Yi Qingluo looked at Steward Yuqi provocatively. Her lips curled into a sneer. Steward Yuqi's face immediately turned ashen. Even the 2 guards behind him looked as if they had eaten a fly. Damn it! Yi Qingluo was obviously slapping their faces with a smack smack smack. Yi Fengyu was stunned when his name was called. The 2 guards were mystic profound grade cultivators. This Steward Yuqi couldn't see his profound grade at all. Teach him a lesson? Wasn't this looking for *T? What? Want me to do it myself? Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes and smiled sweetly. This smile made Yi Fengyu tremble as he swallowed his saliva. Just as he was about to open his mouth to curry favor, he saw Yi Qingluo's gaze and immediately smiled. I'll do it. How can I trouble my sister for such a small matter? He straightened his back, clenched his long knife, and put on an aggressive look as he faced Steward Yuqi. Sorry for offending you. Yi Fengyu jumped up, his mouth exploded with a roar, and the long knife in his hand chopped out. A wisp of qi lingered on the long saber, forming a saber light. You dared to court death. Steward Yuqi's expression turned cold. A burst of energy exploded from his body. His luxurious robe danced, making a flapping sound. The palm wind directly chopped towards Yi Fengyu. Unexpectedly, Yi Fengyu's long knife changed direction, and actually chopped towards Yi Chongwei. Xiaoyu, be careful. Yi Qingluo pretended to panic and cried out. Yi Fengyu heard the shout and somersaulted to the side, avoiding the palm wind. But he still suffered a slight scratch, half kneeling on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Xiaoyu. Yi Qingluo rushed forward, one hand supporting Yi Fengyu, eyes full of worry. When she saw the smear of blood on the corner of Yi Fengyu's mouth, Yi Qingluo pointed at Steward Yuqi in anger. Your Yuqi family is simply bullying intolerably. Not only did you block this young matriarch outside, you actually dare to come directly to my door. This young matriarch wants to see how lawless your Yuqi family is. Steward Yuqi was already regretting his decision as soon as he struck out with his palm. He had not expected Yi Fengyu and Yi Qingluo to join hands and put on such a good show, intentionally making him think that Yi Qingluo was humiliating him, forcing him to make the first move. In reality, the person Yi Fengyu wanted to attack from the start was Yi Chongwei. As the head steward of the Yuqi family, If he were to make a move against the Yi family's son in the Three Springs sect manner, he would definitely be punished. No matter how he explained it, it would be his fault. This lowly girl was actually so shrewd. Yi Qingluo directly ignored Steward Yuqi's vicious gaze. She single-handedly supported Yi Fengyu, her gaze directly pressing down on Yi Tianquang. Lord Father, right now your son in front of you has been humiliated by a mere Yuqi family steward. Can you swallow this insult? He couldn't swallow it. Of course he couldn't swallow it. Yi Tianquang's complexion was like a vegetable. He, the dignified sect leader of the Three Springs sect, had to lower his voice to a steward from a profound practitioner clan. After being stirred up by Yi Qingling, he felt that his face had been swept to the ground. That hot-bloodedness in his heart was stimulated by Yi Qingluo. No matter how much he disliked Yi Qingluo in his heart, no matter how much he loathed her. But in the eyes of outsiders, Yi Qingluo was still the young matriarch of the Three Springs sect. It was alright to be bullied by one's own family, but to be bullied by others, wouldn't it let outsiders ridicule Three Springs sect for having no one? Chapter 49. Steward Yuqi's expression also darkened. For a moment, he did not dare to act rashly. He had accurately calculated Yi Tianquang's temperament. Only then did he dare to strut around in front of Yi Tianquang. After all, the Three Springs sect's status was there for all to see. If it weren't for Yi Tianquang's cowardice, always wanting to curry favor with all the forces, he wouldn't have had the guts to step into the Three Springs sect. Yi Tianquang's sudden display of power made Steward Yuqi's heart beat like a drum. This young master won't mention the affair between Yuqiya and fourth sister for now. At this moment, Yi Qingluo opened her mouth leisurely, but because this young matriarch knows their secret, he repeatedly made a move against this young matriarch, and even dared to lay a vicious hand on the Mu family's two young masters. He deserves to be seriously injured and bedridden. Steward Yuqi was secretly shocked when he heard this. He was well aware of his young master's romantic routine. But, flirting with the fourth miss of the Three Springs sect, should he praise his young master for his infinite charm? Or should he wipe his cold sweat for his young master? On the other hand, Yi Tianquang's complexion was overcast, as if the frost of October had covered his entire face. What did he mean by Yuqiya and fourth sister, or having illicit relations? His Yi Tianquang's daughter was actually humiliated by that Yuqi family scum? The Yuqi family didn't even put the Three Springs sect in their eyes. This thought flashed through Yi Tianquang's mind. He thought that the Yuqi family had also offended the Mu family. Yi Tianquang's entire person was also filled with confidence. Like an angry lion, cold air wantonly emanated from his entire body. Steward Yuqi, you dare to humiliate my Three Springs sect. This sect master will absolutely not let this matter rest. Sect Master Yi, this is a misunderstanding. Steward Yuqi's anger abruptly subsided, and his tone softened. The Yuqi family has absolutely no intention of insulting the Three Springs sect. No. Yi Tianquang sneered and slightly narrowed his eyes. This sect master's eyes aren't blind. Get the hell out of Three Springs Manor right now. I will personally pay a visit to the Yuqi family and ask them how they will account for what happened today. Steward Yuqi's expression was thoroughly dark. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, he could not be bothered to give him any face. His long arms suddenly stretched out, and his 5 fingers turned into a yin claw, pressing towards Yi Qingluo. Steward Yuqi's figure had just moved when Yi Qingluo acutely sensed a murderous aura. In the next second, his body reflexively avoided the danger. Steward Yuqi missed once. He immediately turned around and pressed forward with his palm. His eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. Yi Tianquang was thoroughly enraged. In front of him, she had repeatedly attacked him. What a Yuqi family! Yi Tianquang's eyes were bloodshot. He suddenly clenched his fists, and a wisp of qi lingered on his fists. Just as he was about to make a move, someone placed a hand on his shoulder. Yi Tianquang was so startled that he almost turned his hand to strike behind him. In the instant that the corner of the black robe floated into his eyes, Yi Tianquang's palm was forcibly intercepted in midair. The Yi clan is very lively today. What a coincidence that I've come. A clear voice descended from the sky. This voice was very calm and indifferent, but it easily made Yi Tianquang and the three Yuchi family members stop their movements. Your Highness. They knelt down to pay their respects. Only Yi Qingluo stood alone, especially conspicuous. Yi Fengyu tugged at the corner of her robe, reminding her to abide by the rules. But he saw Yi Qingluo's eyes were cold, and the corner of her mouth held a sneer of ridicule. And Lung Fenghua held a gentle and refined smile. Facing Yi Qingluo's indifference and rudeness, he didn't say a word of blame. Get up. Today His Highness is here to see his fiancée. No need to be so courteous. Lung Fenghua smiled and waved his hand. Chapter 50. Fiancé. Steward Yuchi's body stiffened and his face turned ashen. Since when did the crown prince acknowledge Yi Qingluo, this waste, as his future crown princess? Wasn't the most shameful thing for the crown prince to have Yi Qingluo, that useless, weak and incompetent fiancé? Now, the crown prince's motive was obviously to support Yi Qingluo. Once the crown prince intervened, Steward Yuchi didn't even dare to think about it. He knelt on the ground like a stray dog, not daring to get up. What are you doing here? Yi Qingluo frowned slightly as she looked at Lung Fenghua in annoyance. Naturally, I'm here to see you. Lung Fenghua slowly approached Yi Qingluo. His brows were filled with a warm smile. As soon as he got close to her, he smelled the delicate fragrance on her body. His heart was like a monkey running amok, as he couldn't help but stretched out his hand to hold Yi Qingluo's tender hand. Scram! A cold word was spat out from Yi Qingluo's pink lips. She sneered and unceremoniously slapped his hand away. Lung Fenghua, don't forget, this young mistress has already divorced you. As soon as he said this, the surroundings fell into silence. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he really wanted to slap Yi Qingluo to death. Previously, when Yi Qingluo said that she wanted to divorce the crown prince didn't pursue the matter. That was because the crown prince was coaxing her. The dignified crown prince was coaxing a girl? Yi Qingluo should be deeply grateful, all right. She actually wanted to divorce the crown prince? Yi Tianquang's malicious and ruthless eyes fiercely looked at Yi Qingluo. Vile spawn you. This prince likes Miss Seventh's temperament. Lung Fenghua waved his hand, with an expression that said, You can do whatever you want, I'll take it. Yi Qingluo shuddered as goosebumps formed all over her body. Like her personality? Could you please not disgust me? Damn it. I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. Yi Qingluo rubbed her arms as she shifted her feet to the side with a look of disgust. Yi Fengyu stood up immediately and stood in front of Yi Qingluo. The youth's slender figure happened to block Lung Fenghua's line of sight. Lung Fenghua's smile froze. He had painstakingly coaxed a woman, only to be despised by her. His face had been thrown 108,000 miles away. Your Highness the Crown Prince, she's just too shy. Yi Tianquang racked his brains to think of an excuse, his face still piled with a flattering smile. This excuse almost made Yi Qingluo choke on her saliva. Shy. Holy shit. Which eye of yours saw that I'm shy? Even if I'm shy, I won't be shy in front of Lung Fenghua. Yi Qingluo felt that if she were to continue staying here, she would definitely vomit out yesterday's dinner. She narrowed her charming eyes slightly, and her slightly cold gaze swept across the few people kneeling on the ground. Soon after, he slightly raised his gaze and stared at Yi Tianquang. The matter of the Three Springs sect and the Yuchi family will be handled by Father Xiaoyu. Let's go. After saying that, he walked towards the gate of the abandoned courtyard without looking back. Yi Fengyu followed closely behind. He completely ignored Lung Fenghua. It was the first time that Lung Fenghua had lost face in front of a woman. He had always been proud and believed that as long as he wanted to, he could have any woman in the world. But he didn't expect that Yi Qingluo would be rude to him again and again. A woman with thorns all over her body. When he first saw her, there was indeed a sense of novelty, and he wanted to conquer this woman. But after a long time it hurt. A proud man couldn't wait to let go of this thorny rose. Thinking of a few days ago in front of the common people, Yi Qing Luo made him suffer. Thinking of being ignored by Yi Qing Luo now. Chapter 51. Seventh Miss. Lung Fenghua suppressed his anger as his voice came from behind her. The matter of breaking off the engagement is due to my lack of consideration. I sincerely apologize to you, and will try my best to satisfy all your requests. Are these not enough to appease your anger? Yi Qing Luo stopped in her tracks, turned her head and curled her lips disapprovingly. Anger? I'm not angry at you. Then, Lung Fenghua's face lit up, but his smile had yet to spread to his eyes when it froze at the corner of his mouth. He only heard Yi Qing Luo's cold and sweet smile. Towards you, I have no feelings at all. Why should I waste my feelings on an insignificant person? No feelings at all. Who was the one who kept on pestering him, calling out Brother Hua? Brother Hua so happily. Lung Fenghua's arrogant heart seemed to have been stabbed by a knife. Yi Qing Luo was still smiling sweetly. Her charming eyes seemed to be mocking him. What's more, who stipulated that I must forgive you if you apologize? Lung Fenghua's eyes were filled with coldness as he strode over and stretched out his hand to grab Yi Qing Luo's shoulder. Yi Qing Luo habitually dodged sideways. Just as she was about to counterattack, she saw Lung Fenghua's face suddenly turn green and red. It was as if he had eaten sh*t. His eyes widened and his mouth kept trembling, looking like he was about to vomit. Following that, everyone except Lung Fenghua knelt on the ground. They were shouting something like Overlord. Overlord? An evildoer's face appeared in Yi Qing Luo's mind. She looked around sharply and didn't discover Dmo Xian's presence. Then, why did these people inexplicably shout Overlord? Just as she was thinking, Lung Fenghua suddenly grabbed her wrist and raised it up with an expression of eating shit on his face. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and unwillingness as he pointed at Yi Qing Luo's sleeve and asked with gritted teeth, Why? Why do you have this? Yi Qing Luo then discovered that her sleeve revealed a piece of purple cloth. That cloth happened to be exposed at one end, embroidered with an incomparably clear Overlord word. Overlord? Dmo Xian? Yi Qing Luo shook off Lung Fenghua's hand and pulled out that piece of cloth. F***ck. Wasn't this the day she met Dmo Xian for the first time? The last palm strike she had sent towards Dmo Xian didn't hit him, but hit off that piece of cloth on his sleeve? As expected of the legend of the Nirvana realm, even a small piece of clothing could intimidate people. It was simply too cool. What exactly is your relationship with the Overlord? Lung Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the piece of cloth. A woman was hiding a small piece of a man's clothes. What else could that mean? Especially, if it wasn't for the Overlord's willingness, how could Yi Qing Luo possibly have his clothes? Lung Fenghua felt as if he had been cuckolded. No wonder Yi Qing Luo had been so arrogant recently, with such a detestable attitude towards him. It turned out that he had already hooked up with his next target. His gaze towards Yi Qing Luo became even more vicious. Yi Qing Luo found it funny. Lung Fenghua looked as if he had been cuckolded. What was going on? He had never treated her as his fiancée, so why was he acting like this now? Yi Qing Luo sneered as she stuffed the cloth into her sleeves, pulled up Yi Fengyu, who was kneeling on the ground, and strode into the abandoned courtyard. With a bam, the abandoned courtyard's main door closed. The wind blew, rolling up the fallen leaves on the ground, sprinkling onto the back of Lung Fenghua's feet. The scene was silent. Chapter 52. It was undeniable that the deafening sound of the door slamming made Yi Fengyu feel very refreshed. But after feeling refreshed, he felt a lingering fear. The person outside was the current crown prince. Slamming the door and leaving. Although domineering, this was a great disrespect to the crown prince. Just as Yi Fengyu scratched the back of his head with a face full of apprehension, a hand suddenly stretched out in front of him. This is a peerless immortal pill. Take it and eat it. Peerless immortal pill? Yi Fengyu's pupils suddenly widened. A burst of ecstasy spread from the bottom of his heart. What disrespect to the crown prince! To hell with it all! His excited hands trembled as he grasped Yiqing Luo's hand and pushed her slender fingers away one by one. When the last finger was pushed away, an earth-colored pill appeared in the palm of her plain white palm. At first glance, this pill couldn't be any more ordinary. But upon a closer look, one would discover that the pill was shrouded in a faint medicinal mist, emitting a medicinal fragrance. Just taking a whiff of the medicinal scent, he felt his entire body's exhaustion was swept away. Yi Fengyu's excited lips trembled, unable to spit out half a word for a long time. His hands cupped the peerless immortal pill, his face full of ecstasy. Although it is a low-grade pill, I reduced the amount of medicinal ingredients and added a few more. After the transformation, compared to ordinary peerless immortal pills, the medicinal effect should be a bit stronger. Peerless immortal pill, a low-grade pill, could greatly enhance a profound practitioner's profound jade heart absorption, thus reaching the barrier of profound jade heart advancement. Of course, it also didn't mean that every profound practitioner who took the peerless immortal pill would advance. It all depended on individual factors. I still have 6 pills on me. If you successfully advance your profound jade heart, I will unconditionally give the remaining 6 to you. Yiqing Luo tossed out another temptation when she saw her brother's smug look, as if he was on cloud 9. Immediately, Yi Fengyu was overjoyed, his eyes sparkling. This is what you said. I will go back to the courtyard to practice now. One cauldron could at most refine 10 pills at a time. Yiqing Luo was able to refine 7 peerless immortal pills. It was already unprecedented. Yi Fengyu suddenly felt that there was meat to eat as long as he followed his sister. Therefore, Yi Fengyu respectfully held the immortal pill in his hands and happily left the abandoned courtyard. By the time Yi Fengyu's aura had completely disappeared from the range of her senses, the smile on Yiqing Luo's pale face disappeared from her lips. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. She supported herself with one hand on the wooden table and the other on her chest. His body swayed slightly, and his legs gave out, and he fell onto the chair. Girl, are you all right? Old Man Song's concerned voice came from her mind. Not long ago, when Yiqing Luo was refining pills, she was disturbed. Originally, she had wanted to calm her heart and wait until she finished refining the medicine before leaving the Azure Dew bracelet. But the other party had come knocking on his door. Yiqing Luo's state of mind was not at ease, and her control of the fire was slightly off by a little. Because of this, there were only 7 pills refined in the end. As for Yiqing Luo, she had also suffered from the punishment of her consciousness refining pill. Her consciousness was damaged and she was injured. When facing Steward Yuqi and His Highness the Crown Prince, she forced herself to pretend that nothing was wrong. I'm fine. Yiqing Luo held her chest and closed her eyes. I'll be fine after resting for a while. Chapter 53. The profound jade heart that Dmo Xian had formed in Yiqing Ling's body was definitely not an ordinary profound jade heart. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel the lingering qi waves in her heart. However, her meridians were sealed, and she was unable to freely circulate her profound jade heart. Old Man Song's voice paused, and he suddenly took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind about something. He said, "Little girl, this old man has a cauldron here. If you can tame this cauldron, then the marrow cleansing pill and whatnot will not be a problem." Yiqing Luo's thoughts stirred, and her consciousness entered the Azure Dew bracelet. Her divine sense was damaged. This move caused her body to feel a tightness in her chest, and a few traces of blood flowed out. Yiqing Luo didn't have the mood to care as she rushed straight to the front of Old Man Song. "Smelly old man. If you have something good, why didn't you take it out earlier? You hid it for so long." "It's not that I'm trying to hide it, it's just that." Old Man Song wanted to say something but hesitated. Yiqing Luo panicked. "Don't just whatever cauldron, just take it out." Old Man Song sighed, and his illusory body swayed. A huge cauldron suddenly appeared in front of Yiqing Luo's eyes. The furnace was made of bronze, and the patterns on the body of the furnace were strange. It was impossible to tell what the patterns were. However, when she took a closer look, she vaguely felt that there was a pair of eyes glaring at her from the lines. The golden light flickered, making it hard for people to look away. That cauldron was even taller and bigger than Yi Qing Luo. Instantly, the wide azure dew bracelet seemed a bit narrower. This is. Yi Qing Luo had never come into contact with alchemy before, so she couldn't recognize this furnace in front of her. However, he knew that this cauldron was no ordinary item. At the very least, he was at the Supreme Being level or above. Sure enough, they heard Old Man Song proudly say, "This is a legendary cauldron called the Dragon God Cauldron. It's a vessel used by ancient gods to refine pills. And it's a cauldron that all alchemists yearn for even in their dreams." Dragon God Cauldron? Legendary level? Yi Qing Luo was dumbfounded. Her pair of charming eyes suddenly widened. She subconsciously wanted to touch the Dragon God furnace. His wrist was grabbed by Old Man Song. "Don't go over." Yi Qing Luo's other hand had already touched it. Suddenly, a burst of golden light flickered in front of her. Yi Qing Luo had no time to see clearly what happened, and only felt a pain in her finger. Then, she was pushed out by the golden light. Fortunately, Old Man Song supported her from behind. Old Man Song immediately raised her hand, and saw that there was a bright red mark on her finger. Fresh blood was gushing out. Ouch! Yi Qing Luo sucked in a breath of cold air. Old Man Song's expression became grave. "What's going on?" "It had actually sucked your blood?" Yi Qing Luo was stunned. "What's sucking my blood?" "The Dragon God Furnace is a legendary furnace. Like the Azure Dew Bracelet, it has a guardian spirit. The guardian of the Divine Dragon Cauldron is the totem outside the cauldron, the Golden Dragon." Old Man Song bandaged Yi Qing Luo's finger as he explained. "The Golden Dragon's temper is the worst. Even if it's me, when I was still alive, I wasn't able to tame the Divine Dragon Cauldron." He paused for a moment, a puzzled look in his eyes. "I've never heard of it taking the initiative to drink human blood." "Golden Dragon?" Yi Qing Luo vaguely recalled that when she touched the Dragon God Furnace earlier, she seemed to have seen that golden light form a golden head. That sharp golden tooth cut a line from her finger. Chapter 54. Girl, you're really lucky. This old man is envious of your luck. Old Man Song pushed Yi Qing Luo towards the Dragon God Cauldron. "All right, you can go over now." Yi Qing Luo was dumbfounded. He wasn't allowed to go over just a moment ago, so why was he allowed to go over now? He thought that the Divine Dragon Cauldron would resist him again, but her body directly collided with the Divine Dragon Furnace. The ice-cold sensation instantly eroded her entire body. Yi Qing Luo shivered, and was just about to leave when she heard a strange voice resounding in her ear. "New Master. I am the guardian of the Dragon God Cauldron, called Cauldron Dragon." "The guardian of the Divine Dragon Furnace? New Master. Holy shit, what the hell?" "Little girl, the Dragon God Cauldron has absorbed your blood, so it has established a blood contract with you. It will follow you for the rest of your life, only for you to use." Old Man Song saw Yi Qing Luo's horrified expression, and explained aloud. Not only was Yi Qing Luo shocked, his heart was also overwhelmed with shock. When he was still alive, he obtained the Divine Dragon Cauldron. But even after his death, even after he became the protector of the Azure Dew Bracelet, he still had no way of taming the Divine Dragon Furnace. He had not expected the Dragon God Cauldron to take the initiative to sign a blood pact with Yi Qing Luo. It seemed that this little girl's identity was extraordinary. At this moment, Yi Qing Luo was communicating with the Cauldron Dragon. She learned from the Cauldron Dragon that the Divine Dragon Furnace was an alchemy furnace contracted by an ancient divine sovereign. After the Divine Emperor passed away, the Divine Dragon Furnace fell into the Nirvana realm. Then Old Man Song unexpectedly obtained it. Then she appeared. "Why me?" Yi Qing Luo was puzzled. This was the first time she had seen the Dragon God's Cauldron. She had also heard Old Man Song mention that from when he was alive until he became a guardian, he had never been able to tame the Dragon God's Cauldron. She didn't understand why the Cauldron Dragon would choose to form a blood contract with her. The cauldron dragon's voice was loud and clear, possessing the dignity of the dragon race. Because of your scent. Taste. Yiqing Luo raised her hand and sniffed her body. He showered every day, and there wasn't any special smell. You humans can't smell this smell, said the cauldron dragon. Yiqing Luo's hand covered the pattern of the dragon god cauldron. The dragon god cauldron suddenly trembled and randomly transformed into a palm-sized cauldron, falling into Yiqing Luo's palm. The cauldron dragon's voice came again. I can be as big or as small as you wish. I will definitely teach you everything I know about refining medicine. In other words, it would not interfere in anything other than alchemy. He held the divine dragon furnace in his hand. He also had Old Man Song, a Grandmaster Alchemy Senior in Cauldron Dragon's teachings. Yiqing Luo suddenly felt that she was going to soar into the sky in the alchemist's circle. I want to refine the marrow cleansing pill. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with joy. Ever since she started concocting pills, she had always wanted to concoct better pills. He wanted to unlock the seal on his meridians, wanted to stabilize his brother's profound rank, wanted to cure Ziling's leg. Now that she had the divine dragon cauldron, everything she wanted could come true. The cauldron dragon was silent for a moment, as if it was investigating the situation within Yiqing Luo's body. Soon after, a dignified voice rang out leisurely. All right, I only need 2 days. 2 days. No wonder it was a cauldron that the divine sovereign had once used. His words were so unyielding. Yiqing Luo was extremely excited. Cauldron dragon, let's start refining the pill now. Before that, you must guarantee that no one will disturb you while you refine the pill. The cauldron dragon said solemnly. Chapter 55. Yiqing Luo understood. Under Cauldron Dragon's request, she first took a pill to treat the damage to her consciousness. Then she left the Azure Dew bracelet and called Ziling over. She told her to stand guard at the door and that no one was allowed to come in and disturb her. Just as she was about to return to her room, she thought of something and added, If little Yu comes, let him guard the door with you. In the following days, Yiqing Luo lay on the bed, and her consciousness entered the Azure Dew bracelet to refine pills. For an alchemist, apart from having good pill refining skills and character, they also had to have the best refining tools. A top-grade cauldron, and a powerful profound jade heart condensed core flame, in addition to precious medicinal ingredients. This was an essential piece of equipment if one wanted to successfully refine a pill. Yiqing Luo fulfilled all of these conditions. It was just that her current body was somewhat powerless to control the legendary grade cauldron. At first, refining pills could be considered easy. She followed the 100 medicines pill forming recipe and threw the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron, according to Cauldron Dragon's instructions. She controlled the heat, but after a long time, her profound jade heart clearly couldn't support it. Usually, the longest time to refine pills wasn't more than 8 hours. This time, it took 24 hours to complete the refinement. The originally extremely pure core flame gradually became slightly turbid. Her breathing also became more and more chaotic. Girl, you hold on. Old Man Song realized the situation wasn't right and suddenly slapped his head. I forgot to remind Cauldron Dragon, your profound jade heart isn't your own. Dmo Xian's profound jade heart could be freely operated by Yiqing Luo, but after a long time, it could easily cause the profound jade heart to become tired and resist Yiqing Luo. Seeing the cold sweat on Yiqing Luo's forehead dripping down drop by drop, it was obvious she couldn't hold on any longer. Old Man Song's spirit body flashed and quickly landed behind Yiqing Luo. Both palms came together, and a white light burst forth from Old Man Song's palms. Immediately, a warm current assaulted Yiqing Luo's profound jade heart. It lingered around the profound jade heart's surroundings and rotated several times. It easily suppressed the pain Yiqing Luo had been forcibly holding on to. That warm current revolved unceasingly within her body. After one revolution, her profound qi gradually stabilized. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine dragon cauldron shook. The golden light instantly lit up the entire void. As soon as the lid of the cauldron was lifted, a few golden pills automatically popped out. Yi Qing Luo flipped her palm, and those few medicinal pills automatically fell into her palm. There were 3 in total. Eldritch Song. Eldritch Song. I refined it successfully. I've succeeded. Yi Qing Luo's brows were filled with ecstasy. She held the 3 golden pills, and quickly walked towards Old Man Song. Then he saw Old Man Song lying on the ground. His white robes, white hair, and beard seemed to have merged with the space around him. The smile on Yi Qing Luo's face instantly froze. Old Man Song, what's wrong with you? Yi Qing Luo's expression congealed as she half knelt on the ground and stretched out her hand to help Old Man Song up. Master, don't touch him for now. The cauldron dragon's voice interrupted her actions. Yi Qing Luo's arm stiffened, her eyes filled with worry. Is it because Old Man Song just passed me profound qi causing? Girl, don't worry. Old Man Song's voice was very light. His white beard moved along with his lips. I'm fine. I'll be fine after recuperating in the Azure Dew bracelet for a period of time. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips pursed into a straight line. Chapter 56. He is the guardian of the Azure Dew bracelet. As long as his spiritual body is still within the bracelet, nothing will happen to him, said the cauldron dragon. Yi Qing Luo bit her lips. And Old Man Song will be fine. The cauldron dragon was the guardian of the divine artifact. It wouldn't deceive her. In any case, she was the master of the cauldron dragon. Little girl, since the marrow cleansing pill has been successfully refined, there's no time to lose. Eat the marrow cleansing pill and unseal your meridians. Old Man Song's voice grew softer and softer. I have to go into seclusion for a period of time. The cauldron dragon will guide you. Yi Qing Luo nodded her head repeatedly. I will. When you come out of closed-door cultivation, I will not let you down. The corner of Old Man Song's lips twitched weakly. Soon after, white mist curled up and completely enveloped Old Man Song's body. After the fog dispersed, where was Old Man Song's figure? Don't think too much. Let's begin. Cauldron Dragon didn't give Yi Qing Luo time to think about other things. Yi Qing Luo concealed the uneasiness in her heart. Indeed, it was useless no matter how much she thought about it. The only thing she could do now was to unlock the seal on her meridians and cultivate her profound qi to make herself stronger. According to Cauldron Dragon's method, Yi Qing Luo sat cross-legged on a stone block. Immediately, his little but felt a chill. 1,000-year frost ice. Yi Qing Luo stretched out her hand in astonishment and stroked the stone block. Immediately, a cold aura that was comparable to a heart-piercing chill spread from her palm to her arm. The 1,000-year frost was a good item. It was a treasure that countless profound practitioners desired. It was said that as long as a profound practitioner cultivated on the 1,000-year frost, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. This was because the Millennium Frost was refined from the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Now that it was placed within the Azure Dew bracelet, the spiritual energy on the stone block was even denser and purer. He hadn't expected that Old Man Song would hoard quite a few good things and hide them in the Azure Dew bracelet. Yi Qing Luo sat upright and swallowed a marrow cleansing pill. The marrow cleansing pill melted in his mouth, and his mouth was instantly filled with a refreshing medicinal fragrance. The medicinal fragrance flowed down his throat and into his body, flowing into his meridians. The process was extremely painful. Yi Qing Luo couldn't hold it in for a few times as she let out a painful moan. In his tendons and veins, waves of medicinal fragrance kept colliding and pressing against each other. His entire body felt as if it had been torn apart and then reassembled. Ah! A sharp, painful moan came out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth. There was a metallic taste in his throat. As soon as he heard the sound of cooking, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood was black, so black that it was purple. Then a cold current spread from his buttocks to his limbs and bones. The painful squeezing sensation was no longer there. At this moment, Yi Qing Luo only felt carefree and incomparably refreshed. A majestic and terrifying profound qi erupted from Yi Qing Luo's body. That profound energy emitted a dazzling light, making the red-clothed woman on the stone block look even more enchanting than the sun and moon. The purification was a success. The blocked tendons and meridians were unblocked. A steady stream of profound energy spread through his limbs and bones. Master, taking advantage of this momentum, you can begin challenging the first level of the Azure Dew Bracelet's mental cultivation method. Nanny, he was already challenging the first level of the mental cultivation method, not waiting for Yiqing Luo to regain her senses. That huge cauldron shook violently. Her footsteps were unsteady, and her body bumped into something. In the next second, that thing that she had bumped into was like a suction cup, firmly sucking her in. Yiqing Luo's eyes immediately went black. In a short moment, Yiqing Luo opened her eyes again and discovered that she was actually standing on a battle stage. Chapter 57. This is the first level's competition arena. Cauldron Dragon's faint voice seemed to come from the horizon. Master, raise your head. Yiqing Luo followed the voice and raised her eyes. Above her head was a vast expanse of white mist that she couldn't see the bottom. On the extreme right side of the arena, a fiery red candle lamp floated in midair. When this lamp goes out, no matter what happens on the arena, I will summon you back. Cauldron Dragon continued. If you successfully pass the first level before the lamp goes out, you can obtain the first level's secret arts. In other words, before this lamp goes out, Cauldron Dragon absolutely wouldn't interfere with her. The Azure Dew Bracelet has 12 levels of purgatory. The first level is the simplest. With your current ability, you should be able to deal with it. Do you see that huge one on the arena stage? Pour profound chi into the one, and the Azure Dew Bracelet will randomly create a void space according to your strength. Yiqing Luo followed Cauldron Dragon's words and half knelt on the ground, pouring profound chi into the one under her feet. When her profound chi was released, the profound chi that had just been gathered after purification actually crazily rushed towards her profound jade heart. As if it had found an outlet, it drilled into her profound jade heart, as if it didn't cost anything. Yiqing Luo clutched her heart, one hand on the ground, and let out a muffled groan. This crazy oppressive feeling squeezed her profound jade heart until it swelled painfully. At the same time, the entire arena shook violently. In a split second, a group of fiendish wild beasts appeared in front of Yiqing Luo. There were at least 100 of them in a group. The 100 beasts cried in unison, deafening the ears. The entire arena seemed as if it was about to collapse. These wild beasts were refined according to your current strength. You only need to defeat these beasts in front of you, and you can smoothly pass the first level of purgatory. After Cauldron Dragon finished speaking, there was no longer any sound. It seemed as if it simply didn't see Yiqing Luo's expression of endless pain. It simply couldn't be more painful. Her chest swelled to the point it was about to explode, and the 100 wild beasts in front of her, after their protective barrier was broken, surged towards Yiqing Luo. Among those wild beasts, the smallest was 2 meters tall. They opened their bloody mouths, revealing their sharp teeth. He opened his mouth and tried to swallow Yiqing Luo into his stomach. Yiqing Luo's 5 fingers clasped tightly around her heart as she leapt up. Using the height of a wild beast, she somersaulted in the air. Soon after, he landed steadily in the empty space of the arena. A few ferocious wild beasts missed their target and crashed into each other. Phew! Yiqing Luo panted heavily as her slender brows creased tightly. All of a sudden, the profound heart jade seemed to have been set ablaze by a ball of flame. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel the scorching heat in her chest. Following this, her body began to emit a layer of dazzling light. The light spread like fire. Yiqing Luo felt that this ray of light had turned into strands of qi, seeping into her body from her skin. Bit by bit, it lingered on the profound heart jade. The swollen and painful feeling gradually disappeared. Surrounding the profound heart jade's surroundings was a stretch of pure profound energy. When he clenched his fist, he could feel boundless power accumulating in him. The roars of wild beasts rang in his ears, and the wild beasts in front of him pounced ferociously. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes gleamed with a bloodthirsty and enchanting red glow. The first floor. Chapter 58. The fiery red candlelight floating in the air flickered. On the arena, a pile of wild beast corpses piled up into a small hill. One by one, at an extremely fast speed, piled up high. In the middle of the arena, in the midst of the blood mist, a red figure was faintly discernible. Under her feet, there was an extremely strong chi wave, the strong wind fluttering her dress, like a blooming rose. A head of simple hair, long disheveled, hung down to her shoulders. That devastatingly beautiful face was covered with a layer of frost. There was no emotion on her face. Between her charming eyes, there was an excited cold glint. What swept her pink lips was a bloodthirsty and treacherous smile. She was killing incomparably carefree. The wind from her palm landed again, the wild beast's flesh and blood splattered. Fresh blood splashed on her face. Her smile was more and more devastatingly beautiful. That smile made people appalled. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel that the profound heart jade in her heart was transmitting her endless profound chi, making her fight tirelessly, unceasingly. Every time a wild beast fell, the blood in her body boiled for a while. In the arena, there were finally 3 wild beasts that weren't too big in size, but their power was extremely strong. These 3 wild beasts had some human nature, actually knew how to help each other. And the candlelight above her head, the candle flame was already getting weaker. At this time, Yiqing Luo couldn't be impatient. She understood this logic. Trapped by the 3 wild beasts, Yiqing Luo used her footwork to move back and forth. The profound chi and the profound heart jade was also constantly hoarding, absorbing. The wild beast's vision followed, but in a moment they were dizzy. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo targeted one, hit it. The triangular standing wild beast, one died. The triangular defense disintegrated. Dealing with it was even easier and more comfortable. By the time Yiqing Luo finished off the last wild beast, the candle which was floating in mid-air had also extinguished. Almost at the same time. Ha ha ha, lass, I knew as long as it's you, you can definitely do it. Old Man Song's voice came from her mind. His voice was unable to conceal the joy in it. Yiqing Luo's bloodthirsty cold eyes suddenly became clear. Old Man Song? Are you alright? This old man hasn't even seen you ascend to the peak of powerhouses. How can you die? Old Man Song's voice regained its usual vigor. After inquiring, Yiqing Luo found out that she had spent 3 days and 2 nights in the first story. Old Man Song had been cultivating in seclusion for the past few days. Although he couldn't appear in his previous spiritual form, he could at least communicate with her. When Old Man Song returned to her side, Yiqing Luo immediately felt a sense of familiarity. The smile on her face added some of the warmth that a young girl should have. Girl, you're really lucky, Old Man Song quipped. Even the timing is so precise. At the same time when the lights go out, the last beast will be eliminated. Yiqing Luo's lips curled upwards as she gave a light smile. Girl, congratulations on successfully passing the first level of the purgatory. Old Man Song's laughter was filled with gratification. I'll leave the first level of the deep water art to you. On the stage, the huge one character shone brightly. A scroll floated in the air. Yiqing Luo stretched out her hand, and the scroll automatically fell into her palm. The light dissipated. When the scroll entered her hand, there was a cool touch. Yiqing Luo lowered her eyes to look at the top of the scroll. The ink writing was like dancing dragons and dancing phoenixes. Teleportation. Teleportation. Damn. It was actually teleportation. Chapter 59. When Yiqing Luo was still in the 21st century, she had heard the name teleportation from those old men's mouths. They had mentioned it more than once. But what made Yiqing Luo remember this name incomparably deeply was those old men had tricked her into going to the Yi family's ancient tomb to retrieve the Yi family's heirloom. They had deliberately mentioned teleportation. Teleportation, as the name implied, was able to move in an instant. Compared to her strange footwork and identity, it was even more astonishing. If one could cultivate teleportation to the highest level, in a place as big as a town, he could easily teleport to any place he wanted. Unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo had really obtained the secret manual of teleportation in the first layer of purgatory. It was rare for those old men to speak the truth. The reward for successfully passing the first layer of purgatory is randomly generated by the Azure Dew Bracelet's first layer of purgatory, according to the statistics of when you defeated the 100 beasts. Old Man Song explained, when Yiqing Luo fought against the first layer of purgatory, she used her modern footwork. Because of this, purgatory filtered out the most suitable reward for Yiqing Luo. Regarding this reward, Yiqing Luo expressed that she was very satisfied. Satisfied to the point that she couldn't be more satisfied. Don't be complacent too early. Old Man Song saw Yiqing Luo's shining eyes and sighed helplessly. You must restore the profound jade heart that was dug out as soon as possible. Mentioning the profound jade heart, Yiqing Luo's hand subconsciously covered her chest. Right. She had almost forgotten that the profound jade heart in her chest wasn't her own profound jade heart. A profound jade heart that didn't belong to her, if used improperly, could easily cause a backlash from the jade heart. Just like when she fought against the wild beasts and released profound qi to open the first layer of purgatory, she almost suffered a backlash from the profound jade heart. This profound jade heart of yours can't hold on for too long. Old Man Song continued. Or you can find the person who formed the profound jade heart for you, and let him restore the current profound jade heart for you. Find Dmo Xian? Yiqing Luo inexplicably thought of the 1-month appointment that he had made with her. He said he would give her 1 month's time to prove her strength. At that moment she understood everything. 1 month's time was almost up, and the time that Dmo Xian gave her to condense this profound jade heart was estimated to be a month. If Dmo Xian forgot about her existence, and forgot about this 1-month appointment, it was very likely that the profound jade heart in her chest would swallow her. Or perhaps, all her hard work for the past month had been in vain. Damn it! What he hated the most was the feeling of having his fate in someone else's hands. Without Dmo Xian, she couldn't do anything? Yiqing Luo's fingers clenched tightly as her charming eyes flickered coldly, filled with unwillingness. Only she could control her own fate. He had to find his profound heart jade as soon as possible. Yiqing Luo bid farewell to Old Man Song and Cauldron Dragon before leaving the Azure Dew Bracelet. The minute her consciousness returned to her body, Yiqing Luo immediately felt hungry. Within the Azure Dew Bracelet, she didn't feel anything at all. Once they returned to reality, Yiqing Luo clutched her stomach and shouted with a dry throat. Ziling, Ziling. Ziling, who was guarding outside the door, heard the noise and slammed the door open. Miss, you've finally woken up. Ziling's face was filled with anxiety as she limped and jogged, staggering endlessly. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as she realized something. What happened? Ziling saw that her Mrs. lips were dry, and didn't forget to pour a cup of water for her as she spoke. Chapter 60. What? Yiqing Luo's eyes darkened. Yiqing Ling, that little bitch, was the last lesson not enough? Now he actually dared to stir up trouble in her courtyard. She forgot the pain after the scar healed. Yi Fengyu's profound grade was above Yiqing Ling's, but his temperament had not reached the point where he would stand to the end. After all, Yiqing Ling was his fourth sister. Yi Fengyu would never go all out. But Yiqing Ling would not care about the brotherhood. Where is it? Let's go. Yiqing Luo got down from the bed and took out a pill from the profound phoenix ring to replenish her qi, and stuffed it into her mouth. Ziling quickly led the way in front. About 20 meters away from the abandoned yard was a corner of the Three Springs Manor's garden. Yiqing Ling held a long sword in her hand and slashed at Yi Fengyu with every move. The long sword made a whoosh sound in the air. She sneered arrogantly. Call that little waste Yiqing Luo out. Isn't she quite arrogant and presumptuous? Yi Fengyu kept dodging and frowned. Fourth sister, we are all children of the Yi family. Why do you have to be so aggressive? Don't talk nonsense with me. Another wave of swords came crashing down. Yi Fengyu hit the ground with both hands and rolled over. Fourth sister, if you continue to be so aggressive, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Yo, I want to see how you are going to show no mercy. Yi Qingling sneered. In her eyes, both Yi Qingluo and Yi Fengyu were unwelcome in the Three Springs manor. A daughter of the first wife, and also the young matriarch, was bullied and helpless. A son of the first wife, although he could live in the courtyard arranged by his father, no one paid attention to him, and no one regarded him as a son of the first wife of the Yi family. What was there to be afraid of? Yi Qingling narrowed her eyes. Two motherless children would never be able to stand firm in the Yi family. Her moves were even more ruthless. Yi Fengyu was enraged. Profound qi broke out of his body, and he swung his palm to meet Yi Qingling's sword. Yi Qingling was taken aback and astonished. She was not surprised because Yi Fengyu made a move against her. Instead, Yi Fengyu's profound rank was several levels higher than hers. What was going on? She remembered that big sister had once said that Yi Fengyu's profound rank was at the third level of the mystic profound realm. However, Yi Fengyu's personality was weak, and he had too many misgivings. When he fought, his hands and feet were tied. If they were to fight, even a yellow mystic realm expert would be able to easily subdue him. But, however, the Yi Fengyu in front of her was completely different from what Big Sister had described. Although Yi Qingling couldn't see through his profound grade, but she could feel that this was definitely not the power of the mystic profound grade 3. What happened to having a weak personality? He actually attacked her. Yi Qingling didn't know that the current Yi Fengyu, under Yi Qingluo's intentional or unintentional influence, was slowly changing his inner thoughts. Yi Qingling panicked. She was not an idiot. If Yi Fengyu really wanted to fight with her, she would definitely be the one to suffer. Looking at Yi Fengyu's palm approaching, Yi Qingling steeled her heart and cleverly avoided the palm strike. Immediately after, as if he had been struck by the wind from the palm, his body flipped in the air and fell to the ground with a thud. She clutched her chest with a face full of pain. Fourth sister. Sure enough, it was just as Yi Qingling had expected. Yi Fengyu immediately withdrew his hand and looked at his own hands in panic. With a worried face, he ran to Yi Qingling and helped her up. Fourth sister, are you all right? Chapter 61. Yi Qingling's long sword was pressed against his neck. Fourth sister, Yi Fengyu's face was ashen. He didn't expect Yi Qingling to lie to him. Your shameless sister is a good-for-nothing, and you, the younger brother, are a fool. You two siblings are really a perfect match. Yi Qingling laughed arrogantly, her eyes full of ridicule. Yi Fengyu wasn't afraid of the long sword at his neck. What made him feel cold was that the person who pointed the sword at him was his own fourth sister. He didn't treat his fourth sister as an enemy, so he was soft-hearted. However, fourth sister was bent on taking his life. She wanted his sister's life. His sister was right. The most taboo in a battle was to be soft-hearted. There was an old saying, there are no fathers and sons on the battlefield. At this moment, Yi Fengyu's state of mind had changed. What are you staring at? Are you going to stand up for your shameless sister? Yi Qingling sneered. I forgot. Didn't you always hate your useless sister and hate her for throwing your face? Why are you so protective now? If my brother doesn't protect me, do you think he will protect you who is worse than a waste? Yi Qingling had just finished her words when she heard a clear and melodious voice. Immediately, Yi Qingling felt a tingling sensation in her arm. Immediately, there was a crisp sound of bones breaking. The long sword fell to the ground. Yi Qingling covered her right hand and didn't have time to react. A red shadow flashed in front of her, and a leg kicked her chest. Suddenly, her internal organs seemed to be squeezed by something, and her body was kicked out. Little Yu, are you okay? Yi Qingluo pulled him over and carefully looked at him. Yi Fengyu shook his head blankly. No, I'm fine. He wasn't the only one who was stunned. Even Yi Qingling, who fell to the ground and spat out blood, was stunned. The one in front of her, was it really that Yi Qingluo? Compared to the last time she saw her, her imposing manner was more majestic and made one's heart tremble. It was obviously the same face, the same eyes. But clearly, It was a beauty that transcended the mortal world. Shocking beauty was enough to enchant all living beings. Trash that didn't even have a profound heart. Jade. When did he have such an extraordinary change? Yiqing Luo confirmed that Yi Fengyu was not injured, and turned her sight to Yiqing Ling, who was lying on the ground. She slowly stepped forward, her charming eyes revealing an enchanting sneer. Yiqing Ling, you've really forgotten the pain after the scar has healed. Since you're so eager to court death, this young matriarch shall fulfill your wish. Bitch. You slut. Yiqing Ling clutched her chest and slowly crawled backwards. In Yiqing Ling's eyes, the current Yiqing Luo was like an Azura who reaped her life. Fear spread from his heart to his entire body. Every cell in her body was venting out the fear in her heart. Yiqing Luo sneered and didn't continue walking forward. Her charming eyes squinted slightly. Scared? Don't worry. What scares you is yet to come. Yiqing Ling's face immediately turned pale like a sheet of paper in fright. Her 5 fingers clutched the ground as she growled in fear. Yiqing Luo, you seduced the crown prince and caused him to refuse to marry eldest sister. Now you still want to kill me. You will be struck by lightning. Yiqing Luo couldn't help but laugh when she heard this. She was also slightly tipsy about Yiqing Ling's 3 views. If this lightning really strikes, it will strike you first. Yiqing Luo covered her mouth and giggled. Chapter 62. It seems like before that, I was the rightful future crown princess. The arc on Yiqing Luo's lips deepened. As an elder sister, to go behind your sister's back and snatch your sister's fiancé, shouldn't you be struck by lightning? Yiqing Ling lowered her eyes guiltily, not daring to look into Yiqing Luo's eyes. His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness and big sister are truly in love. It's your fault. When Yiqing Luo heard that, her slender brows rose slightly as she gave an interesting smile. Since you really love each other, then why did you come to settle the debt with me? True love. Heh. Yiqing Luo didn't believe that there was any true love between that pair of scum man and scum woman. If Lung Fenghua wasn't the crown prince, would Yiqing Qian spend so much effort to seduce him? If Lung Fenghua really loved Yiqing Qian, would he not hesitate to choose her, the more valuable Three Springs sex young matriarch? True love? Bah. Don't insult these 2 words, okay? Yiqing Ling was rendered speechless. His face turned red, and his fingers scratched the ground, leaving marks on it. Yiqing Luo walked over, and half squatted in front of her. Yiqing Ling was so scared that her whole body was trembling. You want to live? Yiqing Luo smiled and squinted her eyes. Yiqing Ling nodded repeatedly. She knew very well that if Yiqing Luo wanted to kill her now, it would be an easy matter. She didn't even have the chance to resist. Yiqing Ling was extremely regretful at this moment. Why did she listen to her eldest sister's words and impulsively seek revenge on Yiqing Luo? Yiqing Luo's slender and fair fingers lifted that trembling chin. Then the corners of her lips curled up, looking incomparably gorgeous. Then, obediently answer a few of my questions. Yiqing Ling bit her red lips, and was about to spit out some malicious words. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain on her chin. It was so painful that she sucked in air repeatedly, and tears came out of her eyes. I'll talk. Yiqing Ling was scared and admitted defeat. Heavenly fortune in. Did you and Yiqing Qian join forces with Yuchiya to destroy my innocence? Yiqing Luo narrowed her cold eyes and asked in a deep voice. Yiqing Ling's face turned pale and her pair of eyes blinked nonstop. No, it's not. Ah! The sound of bones breaking rang out from his jaw. It's me. Tears rolled down Yiqing Ling's face. Her body had just recovered, and she was seriously injured by Yiqing Luo. His heart was filled with frustration and helplessness. My profound heart, Jade, was it you who dug it out? Yiqing Luo's charming eyes refracted even colder. That day, she had just crossed over, and her chest was bleeding. This was enough to prove that the profound heart Jade had just been dug out not long ago. Before that, it was Yiqing Ling who knocked her out and fed her the medicine. Yiqing Ling's pupils abruptly contracted as she shook her head in fear. Really, it really wasn't me. How would I dare to dig out your profound jade heart? No matter how much she hated Yi Qing Luo, she was after all still a young lady in her boudoir. Yi Qingling wouldn't be able to dig out the human heart's jade. But even if Yi Qingling didn't dig it out, she definitely knew the whereabouts of the profound heart jade. Yi Qing Luo's lips curved into an enchanting smile as her 5 fingers wandered frivolously on Yi Qingling's pale little face. Then tell me who dug it? I don't know. Yi Qingling shook her head frantically, but the moment she met Yi Qing Luo's icy cold eyes, she immediately stopped talking. She sobbed and her little body trembled. After a long while, as if she couldn't bear Yi Qing Luo's gaze, she cried out bitterly. Chapter 63. Black-Clothed Man? Man. Yi Qing Luo searched her memory for information about the black-clothed man. She found nothing. I really don't know who that black-clothed man is. He left after digging out your profound jade heart. I was also forced by him. Seeing Yi Qing Luo slow to speak, Yi Qingling fearfully begged for mercy. Looking at Yi Qingling's appearance, she also knew that she shouldn't be lying. That black-clothed man instigated Yi Qingling to lay hands on her, then took the opportunity to dig out her profound jade heart. The target should be her profound jade heart. This wasn't impossible. Since her profound jade heart was born, there were countless people who coveted it. Even Yi Tianquang once wanted to dig out her profound jade heart and refine it himself. Later, if it wasn't for her mother looking for Yi Tianquang to talk for a night, how could this group of people from the Yi family let go of her profound jade heart? Although my profound jade heart wasn't dug out by you, but you can't get away from it. Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes slightly narrowed as she spoke in a cold tone. Yi Qingling's whole body trembled as she felt something. I didn't mean it. I was also forced. You promised not to kill me. I won't kill you. Yi Qing Luo slowly straightened up, an enchanting smile leaping into her eyes. That smile was unable to conceal the bloodthirsty cold glint in her eyes. Then you want? Yi Qingling cried out in horror. Meeting Yi Qing Luo's eyes, she felt as if an ice-cold viper was coiling around her neck, unable to breathe. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up, bewitching and enchanting. Because of you my profound jade heart was dug out then. I'll destroy your profound jade heart. How about that? Yi Qingling's complexion immediately turned ashen. She desperately shook her head and sobbed incessantly. 7th sister. 4th sister knows she was wrong. 4th sister knows she was wrong. I beg you, don't destroy my profound jade heart. Destroying the profound jade heart was equivalent to destroying her cultivation. Without profound qi, she was a waste. 3 Springs sect absolutely wouldn't treat a waste well. Just look at the previous Yi Qing Luo, and you'd know. Yi Qingling was so scared that tears flowed unceasingly. The drops of tears ruined the makeup on her face. A mess of red and green. Didn't I beg you before? But how did you treat me? Yi Qing Luo squinted her eyes as she smiled calmly. In his memory he clearly remembered it. When Yi Qingling forced her to take medicine, and sent her to Heavenly Fortune Inn, she begged bitterly. However, Yi Qingling was getting more and more excited. Now Yi Qing Luo was the same. 7th sister. 7th sister. Yi Qingling sobbed and her body kept crawling backward. Under her body, there was a pool of blood. Yi Qing Luo smiled like a flower as she slowly raised her hand, and a burst of profound qi condensed in her palm. Yi Qingling's eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at the profound qi in Yi Qing Luo's hand. Wasn't her profound heart jade dug out? Why could she still release her profound qi? Don't be afraid. I will be fast, so fast that you won't feel any pain. Yi Qing Luo raised her palm high and aimed at Yi Qingling's chest. Killing intent. A strong sense reminded Yi Qing Luo that there was danger behind her. Yi Qing Luo's legs moved. Boom! Only to see that the place where she was just standing had exploded into a huge deep pit. Yi Qing Luo withdrew her hand and looked towards the direction of the killing intent. She saw Yi Tianquang walking over in a rage. Behind him, Yi Qingjian also followed. Vile spawn! You actually dare to harm your own brothers! Yi Tianquang bellowed, the veins on his forehead bulging. As soon as he approached, his palms suffused with a cold jade light. Chapter 64. Bursts of strong wind stirred up the dust on the ground. The strong waves that could topple mountains and overturn the seas whistled. It was enough to see how much profound energy Yi Tianquang used in this palm. Yi Qingluo didn't dodge this time. Instead, the corners of her lips slightly curled up, revealing a cold smile. She immediately released her profound qi. The wind from her palm turned into two dragons. The imposing manner was like a rainbow, directly colliding with Yi Tianquang's palm wind. There was another deafening boom. Two profound qi collided in midair. Profound qi suddenly exploded, the entire garden. Branches flew everywhere. Both retreated a few steps. Yi Tianquang's complexion changed. When he saw Yi Qingluo withstanding his palm strike, and even matching that palm strike of his face was filled with disbelief. Yi Qingqian opened her mouth wide. She was so surprised that she forgot to take the opportunity to support Yi Qingling to her side. At this time, the father and daughter only had one thought in their minds. How was this possible? Wasn't Yi Qingluo a waste? A waste who didn't even have a profound jade heart. How could she receive her father's palm strike? Were they dreaming? I didn't expect father to say the words fratricidal. It really makes me look at you in a new light. Yi Qingluo sneered. Thinking back, Yi Qingling and the others had done fratricidal things many times. Yi Tianquang didn't even say half a word. Yi Tianquang fiercely gritted his teeth, his complexion gloomy. Qingling is your fourth sister. No matter what mistakes she made, you shouldn't make a move. Fourth sister let people dig away my profound jade heart, causing me to almost lose my life. Now I'll destroy her profound jade heart and let her live. It's a very good deal. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows, her tone full of ridicule. You dare? Yi Tianquang angrily stamped his feet, pointing at Yi Qingluo, his fingers trembling. Then let your daughter see how father will stop your daughter. The last word just spat out from Yi Qingluo's mouth. Yi Qingluo already made a move. Her figure flashed. Only enough time to see a magnificent red shadow. She was already crawling on the ground, trying to leave this dangerous place, next to Yi Qingling. Her slender hands grabbed onto Yi Qingling's clothes, as if she was carrying rubbish. The profound qi in his palm struck Yi Qingluo's chest with a bam. He could clearly hear the sound of something shattering. Yi Qingling only felt a sharp pain in her heart. Her tightly pursed lips overflowed with a few streaks of blood. Something inside him broke. He felt as if all the energy in his body had been sucked dry. He fell to the ground powerlessly, unable to move. He let the blood on his body, and in his mouth ooze out bit by bit. The position of Yi Qingluo's palm strike was neither biased nor coincidental. It just happened to be the position of the profound heart jade. Even Yi Qingling's heart was unharmed. Linger! Qingling! Yi Qingjian and Yi Tianquang immediately shouted. Evil creature! Yi Tianquang's eyes were scarlet as he flew into a rage out of humiliation. Yi Tianquang, in this lifetime, had only produced such a waste like Yi Qingluo. He had lost all his dignity. Now another one had appeared. What was the difference between a person whose profound heart jade was destroyed and a cripple? Yi Qingluo made a move against Yi Qingling in front of him. This was a naked challenge to his authority, a slap to his face. Yi Tianquang roared explosively, his palms pressing out a powerful imposing manner. It was unknown how many times more valiant this wave of qi was compared to the previous palm strike. However, no matter how strong it was, it still couldn't do anything to Yi Qingluo. She leapt, the five-pointed star pattern released under her feet. Chapter 65. The five-pointed star pattern under Yi Qingluo's feet clearly announced that she had already entered the profound realm. She was no longer the wastrel who was despised by everyone. However, Yi Tianquang wasn't as excited as expected. His expression was as cold as ever, and his sharp eyes were covered in frost. He didn't feel that the Yi family's daughter becoming a profound practitioner was something to be happy about. Seventh sister. No matter what method you used to become a profound practitioner, you shouldn't have done anything to fourth sister. Yi Qingqian suddenly opened her mouth, her gentle face full of seriousness. She assumed the posture of an elder sister. Ling is your fourth sister. How can you be so cruel? Yiqing Luo swept her eyes over Yiqing Qian and couldn't help but sneer. Afraid that Yi Tianquang would be soft-hearted after knowing she was a profound practitioner? So she deliberately aroused Yi Tianquang's anger and made a move on her? Yiqing Luo's gaze returned to Yi Tianquang's face. From Yi Tianquang's eyes, she couldn't see the slightest bit of soft-heartedness. It was true that he wanted to kill her. Yi Tianquang's attitude really made people think deeply. Previously, he hated Yiqing Luo because she was a waste and lost the Yi family's face. Now, she had already become a profound practitioner, and her strength was clearly above the Yi family's young masters and young ladies. Yi Tianquang's attitude towards her was still the same as before. Or could it be that Yi Tianquang's hatred towards her had already become a kind of habit? Or there was another reason. Evil creature, if I don't teach you a good lesson today, I will be the Three Springs sex patriarch in vain. Yiqing Qian ignited the anger in Yi Tianquang's heart. During this time, he had always been led by the nose by Yiqing Luo. In front of the common people, she didn't give the Yi family any face. Moreover, she plotted to make Three Springs sect and Yuqi family enemies. He really foolishly stood up for Yiqing Luo and found the Yuqi family's patriarch. Thinking of the humiliation he suffered at the Yuqi family, the anger in Yi Tianquang's eyes burned even more fiercely. The brown five-pointed star pattern suddenly spread from the soles of her feet. Yi Tianquang released his profound energy. Both of his palms shot out like snakes and dragons, and his aura immediately swallowed the mountains and rivers. That was an extremely dazzling ray of light. His palms condensed and moved. Both palms seemed to have turned into an illusion. The speed was so fast that Yiqing Luo couldn't see it clearly. Oh, Lord Father is so easily angered, it's easy to look old. Yiqing Luo sneered. Soon after, the tip of his foot pushed off the ground, and his entire body met the wind from his palm, heading straight for Yi Tianquang's face. Courting death, this was obviously a blatant provocation. Yi Tianquang's eyes darkened, and his palms fiercely chopped out. He sent out a few palm strikes in succession, and they were like huge waves that stacked on top of each other. Boom, boom, boom. The ear-piercing cracking sound was deafening. Chi waves surged and gravel flew everywhere. It was impossible to see anything clearly in this corner of the garden. Apart from Yi Tianquang, Yiqing Jian and Yiqing Ling, there were no other signs of life. Yi Tianquang coldly withdrew his hand. He clapped his hands and sneered in his heart. A puny yellow profound practitioner actually dared to act so insolently in front of him. Did he really think he was the young lord of the Three Springs sect? If it wasn't for... Father. Suddenly, a frightened voice interrupted Yi Tianquang's complacent thoughts. He turned his head, but he saw that the woman who should have died under his palm was now leisurely and contentedly clutching Yiqing Jian's neck. That pair of eyes that could charm all living beings held a faint smile as she gazed at him. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his heart tremble. Chapter 66. What kind of pair of eyes were those? They were obviously long and narrow, yet they were suffused with a cold light. A bloodthirsty murderous aura was like a sharp blade. Just a glance was enough to make one's heart feel like it was being cut by a sharp blade. The flying sand and pebbles gradually came to a stop. The corner of the woman's mouth held a sneer. The coldness in her eyes became more and more penetrating. Father, come hit me. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes were tinged with a smile as she pointed at Yiqing Qian's chest. Yiqing Qian was Yi Tianquang's most valued daughter. How could he bear to hit her? Yi Tianquang was so angry that his face turned ashen and very unsightly. His hands clenched into fists. His whole body was burning with anger, blowing his robe and making it flutter. Vile spawn, I've shown mercy, but it's become an excuse for you to strut around. Good, watch this. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes slightly narrowed. The corner of her mouth rose into a meaningful smile. She suddenly let go of Yiqing Qian and quickly retreated a few steps, distancing herself from the two. All right, then let your daughter see how capable Lord Father is when he doesn't show mercy. Yiqing Luo's eyes flickered. It just so happened that she had just cultivated in the azure dew bracelet, and reached the yellow profound ninth grade. Ninth grade was equivalent to Yi Qingling's current profound grade. But the same profound grade, on different people, could have completely different power. To deal with a weak trash like Yi Qingling, even if she had an ordinary body that couldn't cultivate profound qi, she could still be abused to the point that her parents wouldn't recognize her. Against Yi Qingqian, there was no challenge at all. In the first layer of the Azure Dew Purgatory, the real combat opponents were wild beasts that didn't understand human nature. That kind of combat could improve the combat level, but it couldn't cultivate the ability to adapt to danger when fighting with others. It was better to use Yi Tianquang to practice. Yi Qingluo's action was obviously 2 slaps on Yi Tianquang's face. Yi Tianquang was immediately unable to restrain his anger and raised his palm. The momentum of this palm was indeed completely different from the previous one. Waves of qi gradually flowed around his palm. A huge palm print converged on top of his head. The powerful profound qi drove the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, converging into the palm print bit by bit. Ha! A low roar exploded from Yi Tianquang's mouth. The palm print floating above his head suddenly flashed with lightning-like flowing light. The entire space was filled with a cold gust of wind. Yi Qingluo's red dress fluttered in the wind. The ground beneath his feet trembled violently, as if it was about to split open. Soon after, Yi Tianquang raised both of his arms, shook them and shouted. That palm print turned into numerous silhouettes, covering the sky and earth as it pressed down towards Yi Qingluo. Yi Qingluo steadied herself in the horse stance and swiftly mobilized the profound qi in her body. With a flip of his palms, a cold current gushed out from his palms. Boom! The deafening sound of the collision caused the air in the entire space to freeze. Yi Qingluo condensed her profound qi once again and forced it towards her palms. She pushed the strength in her palms and forced the palm print to retreat. In terms of profound qi, she was naturally inferior to Yi Tianquang. In the competition of profound qi, in just a few breaths of time, she had already been forcefully suppressed to the point where she was unable to stand straight. His legs gradually bent. Yi Qingluo clenched her teeth and shouted loudly, "Break for me!" A scorching heat suddenly ignited in her heart. In an instant, the scorching heat gathered in her palms. It was the profound jade heart. Chapter 67. Good job. The profound jade heart's power came at just the right time. Yi Qingluo's cold eyes flashed with a cold glint. Her palms gathered boundless power. Profound qi suddenly turned into a tornado, wreaking havoc between heaven and earth. Unexpectedly, it forced Yi Tianquang's palm qi back. The earth quaked and the mountains swayed. The sky fell and the earth split. Everything in the surroundings exploded. Yi Qingqian and Yi Qingling were also forced to take a few steps back by this strong force. Only, at the same time that the palm qi was pushed back, Yi Qingluo's heart suddenly felt a dull pain, as if her heart had been ruthlessly cut in half by someone with a knife. Yi Qingluo's complexion was slightly pale. She endured the pain and stood up straight. Yi Tianquang simply didn't expect that Yi Qingluo could actually force back his profound qi. By the time he regained his wits and wanted to avoid that palm wind, it was already too late. The palm wind brushed past his shoulder. His luxurious clothes were torn apart. His entire body, under that powerful qi, fiercely rolled back twice. Soon after, he barely managed to steady his footing, cut an incomparably sorry figure. Fresh blood gushed out from Yi Tianquang's shoulder. "Father!" Yi Qingjian called out worriedly, looking at Yi Qingluo with an additional trace of fear. Everyone was dumbfounded in place. Eyes full of astonishment, eyes full of disbelief. They were already unable to express their current mood. Yi Qingluo could cultivate profound qi without the profound jade heart. It was very strange. Yi Qingluo could cultivate profound qi. Her profound level was at the yellow profound level. Yet she could fight evenly with an earth profound practitioner. This was especially strange. A piece of trash. Just what was it about him that allowed him to undergo such a huge change? "Still want to go?" Yi Qingluo coldly swept over Yi Tianquang's injured shoulder. The smile on the corner of her mouth became increasingly enchanting. Yi Tianquang's expression was gloomy. A dignified profound practitioner was injured by a little waste who had just become a profound practitioner. Especially this person was his daughter who he had always disdained. What kind of humiliation was this? He wanted to move, but his chest was stuffy, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Father! Yi Fengyu, who was chased far away by Yi Qingluo, saw Yi Tianquang spit out blood, and his expression immediately congealed. In his heart, although Yi Tianquang wasn't a successful father, he was still his father. Sister, you can't fight anymore, you can't fight anymore. Yi Fengyu supported Yi Tianquang's body as he turned his head to plead with Yi Qingluo. Yi Qingluo shot him a cold glance. On your account, I'll stop here today. If anyone dares to create trouble in my courtyard next time, all of you will crawl out. With that, she turned around and left. As soon as he moved, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. She took a deep breath and bit her lower lip, trying her best to make her steps look less awkward. Evil creature! Suddenly, a furious shout came from behind him. Yi Qingluo acutely sensed something, but before she could react, she was sent flying by a palm strike. Pfft! Yi Qingluo's body was thrown into the sky and fell onto the ground. Sister! Yi Fengyu's eyes widened, and his legs immediately rushed towards Yi Qingluo. Yi Tianquang swayed as he stood in front of Yi Qingluo. His eyes were ruthless as he laughed complacently. Vile spawn! As he laughed, he coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. He had originally suffered internal injuries, and that palm strike just now had practically used up all the strength in his body. After laughing, that strong and sturdy body fell straight onto the ground. Ah! Yi Qingluo clutched her chest and wiped the bloodstain at the corner of her mouth. In order to injure her, Yi Tianquang had really gone all out. Even his old life had to be thrown away. Chapter 68. Sister, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Yi Fengyu's heart was filled with guilt. If he hadn't pleaded for Yi Tianquang, Yi Qingluo wouldn't have been injured. Yi Qingluo didn't blame her brother. She knew her brother's character very well. She was a person who had transmigrated here, so she didn't have any feelings towards Yi Tianquang. Killing him was the same as killing a stranger. But Yi Fengyu was different. Yi Tianquang treated Yi Fengyu pretty well, and Yi Fengyu also treated him with extreme respect. Naturally, Yi Fengyu didn't want to see her and her father kill each other. She held Yi Fengyu's hand and shook her head. I'm fine. Help me back to the house. The one in trouble was most likely Yi Tianquang. Her line of sight coldly glanced at Yi Tianquang, who was lying on the ground. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. That smile caused Yi Qingjian, who had come to support Yi Tianquang, to feel her scalp go numb. Watching Yi Tianquang fall unconscious in a pool of blood, Yi Qingluo felt that the wounds on her body weren't that painful anymore. Seeking revenge for the smallest grievance was her principle, and the rule of survival. If she didn't have it easy, then Yi Tianquang wouldn't have it easy either. Yi Fengyu's thoughts were all on Yi Qingluo at this moment. He immediately and carefully picked up his sister and held her in his arms. The young boy looked thin and weak, but his strength was not small. Yi Qingluo nestled in his arms, looking like a delicate little doll. A trace of warmth spread in his heart. The coldness in his eyes gradually dissipated. What replaced it was a warm smile that she had never shown before. Yi Qingluo leaned her head on her brother's shoulder, and suddenly felt that her brother had really grown up. Be it in her previous life or this life, this was the first time that someone had let her lean on his shoulder. In the room, Yi Qingluo leaned against the head of the bed with a pale face, gulping down the medicinal soup that Yi Fengyu had passed to her mouth. This medicinal soup was used to treat internal injuries. She didn't want to drink it at first, but when she saw Yi Fengyu's worried expression, she could only brace herself and finish the bitter medicinal soup. She had medicinal pills to treat internal injuries. She had them. It melted as soon as it entered his mouth. There was no taste at all, and its effects were many times better than this medicinal soup. However, Yi Fengyu didn't give her a chance to speak. After drinking a bowl of medicinal soup, Yi Fengyu's expression softened a little. His expression was solemn, as he carefully reminded Ziling to take good care of Yiqing Luo. Then he left the abandoned courtyard. Yi Tianquang was also seriously injured. It was reasonable for him to go over and take a look. Xiaoyu, today's matter has nothing to do with you. If he wants to punish you, just look for me. Yiqing Luo clutched her chest and stuck her head out to look at him. Yi Fengyu's footsteps halted as he turned back and met with Yiqing Luo's pair of chilly eyes. He smiled. I know. He walked out of the room and had just turned around to close the door when he heard Yiqing Luo's cold voice. You can't just endure everything. If you endure, the other party will step on your head. We are the legitimate sons and daughters of the first wife of the Yi family. If anything happens, big sister will take care of it. Yi Fengyu's hand that was about to close the door froze. After a while, he said nothing and closed the door. Young master knows his limits. You can rest at ease and recuperate. Ziling advised. Yiqing Luo sighed lightly and raised her hand to stroke her aching eyebrows. Xiaoyu's personality still needs to be tempered. Only by understanding the fickleness of the world can he truly grow. Chapter 69. Ziling was worried that once she left, no one would take care of her. Mississippi. I'm tired, I want to rest for a while. Yiqing Luo propped up her body and slowly laid down. She closed her eyes, her face full of exhaustion. Ziling tucked Yiqing Luo in and left the room to chase after Yi Fengyu. At the instant when the room door closed, Yiqing Luo, who had her eyes tightly shut, suddenly opened her eyes. The relaxed expression on her face also disappeared. She raised her hand and placed it on her chest that was wrapped in layers of bandages. Profound jade heart. It was most likely broken. It wasn't Yi Tianquang's palm. But when she resisted Yi Tianquang's second palm, the profound jade heart suddenly erupted with power. The current her couldn't even release profound qi to check the condition of her injury. Once she moved, her heart throbbed with pain, as if it was torn by something. She endured the pain and put on an unharmed appearance. She didn't want Yi Fengyu and Ziling to worry about her. Without the profound jade heart, it meant that she had no way to operate profound qi. She was equivalent to a cripple. She didn't give up and closed her eyes. She wanted to use her divine sense to explore her heart and see if her profound jade heart was intact. But just as she withdrew her divine sense, that tearing pain attacked again. Oh! A mouthful of sweet blood rushed up her throat. Yiqing Luo abruptly opened her eyes as she laid prone on the bed, and with a wah sound, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Looks like the injury isn't light, little thing. Suddenly, a deep and mellow voice sounded in the room, like fine wine, intoxicating people's hearts. Yiqing Luo's body suddenly froze on the bed. There was someone in the room? She actually didn't sense it at all. Could it be that there was a problem with the profound jade heart? The instinct that had been formed over so many years would also have a problem? Yiqing Luo's eyes were sharp as she looked towards the direction of the voice. What she saw was a handsome face with peerless elegance. That pair of deep peach blossom eyes flashed with a demonic luster, as he looked at her with a smile that wasn't a smile. Yiqing Luo's heart trembled for no reason. It's him. Dmo Xian. No wonder she couldn't sense the other's aura. How did you? Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased tightly as she looked at him vigilantly. Little thing, have you forgotten our 1-month appointment so quickly? Dmo Xian raised his eyebrows slightly. In the blink of an eye, he was already standing beside the bed. The strong wind brought along the elegant sandalwood scent unique to him. The promise of a month. Of course she remembered. This was the time limit for the profound heart jade that Dmo Xian had given her. Are you here to deliver the profound heart jade? Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes and went straight to the point. Dmo Xian didn't expect her to be so straightforward. His long and narrow eyes revealed a meaningful smile. Little thing, you only remember this lord's profound heart jade? Of course. Yiqing Luo raised her eyes and examined Dmo Xian from head to toe, as if she was examining a commodity. Apart from being able to give me the profound heart jade, do you have any other value? Ha 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 ha. Interesting. Dmo Xian suddenly burst into laughter, his chest shaking, unable to stop laughing. Little thing, you're getting more and more interesting. He bent over and placed his palm on Yi Qing Luo's chest. This lord's decision a month ago is indeed not wrong. His eyes were dyed with a smile, a peerless beauty that caused people to be infatuated. Yi Qing Luo's delicate body slightly trembled, although she was clear that Dmo Xian's action was merely to investigate the profound heart jade in her body. Chapter 70. Yi Qing Luo's face blushed slightly. In her past life, no one dared to touch her because of her status. In this life, she carried the title of the future crown prince consort, and was a waste. No one was willing to get close to her. She was suddenly touched by a strange man like this. No matter who it was, they would also feel embarrassed. Although this wasn't the first time Dmo Xian touched her chest. But the last time, under those circumstances, she had no time to blush. The dignified overlord, touching a young lady without any explanation. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? Yi Qing Luo bit her lower lip, and endured the burning sensation on her face. Oh! Dmo Xian raised his eyebrows and gave an evil smile. Who dares to ridicule? And I, Ma. Yi Qing Luo only had these two words in her heart to express her current mood. Fine. You're the overlord, you're awesome, you're willful. Who the hell dares to laugh at you, old man? If you want to ridicule, you should ridicule me for trying to seduce the overlord blah 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 blah. Fine. Old. Mother. Admit. Coward. Yi Qing Luo curled her lips, too lazy to argue with Dmo Xian on this topic. Blush for what? Anyway, it's flat now. Touch it if you want, who's afraid of who? Yi Qing Luo, who calmed down, only felt that the temperature of the palm in front of her chest gradually rose. Suddenly, a ball of dazzling light overflowed from his palm. In an instant, it wrapped his hand into a ball. At the same time, the light seeped into Yi Qing Luo's heart. Bursts of sharp pain in her heart were wrapped by a warm current. Powerful profound qi rushed into her limbs and bones. Yi Qing Luo immediately closed her eyes and guided the profound qi in her body to circulate a few times before returning to her profound jade heart. Yi Qing Luo didn't see that the light in front of her chest was faintly flickering with a treacherous red light. Flickering extremely weak. Dmo Xian's slender fingers gently touched that red light. His peach blossom eyes were filled with a meaningful smile. The profound jade heart formed again. Yi Qing Luo revolved her profound qi, and after a few circulations, the injuries on her body had slightly eased up. At least it wasn't like before. The pain was simply unbearable. When he opened his eyes again, he was faced with the same peerless and flawless face. At such a close distance, his breath sprayed on her face. Yi Qing Luo could even clearly see the man's long eyelashes, thick and naturally curled upwards. The corners of her eyes were long and charming. The luster in his eyes exuded a captivating charm. To be honest, this face was really pleasing to the eye. Why are you still here? Yi Qing Luo frowned. The implication was, you can get lost now. Dmo Xian's smile deepened. His voice was filled with an intoxicating magnetism. You've just finished using me and you want to chase me away? Little thing, you're really fickle. Finishing his words, he had already closed in on Yi Qing Luo, and his long arms scooped. Yi Qing Luo's entire body had already fallen into Dmo Xian's embrace. The rich fragrance of sandalwood seeped into one's nose. His warmth chased away the chill in her body. This temperature, this thickness, it was a completely different feeling from Yi Fengyu. Little thing, I have plenty of time to accompany you now. This time I've come to find you. I don't intend to leave. Dmo Xian's deep voice slowly sounded beside her ear. Between the words, there was even a hint of laughter mixed in. Not leaving? What did he mean? Dmo Xian was prepared to stay by her side? What the hell? What kind of joke was this? Yeah. Die. She couldn't afford to serve such a great Buddha. Chapter 71. Dmo Xian lowered his eyes. His deep black eyes gazed deeply at the person in his arms. At such a young age, she had already displayed a devastatingly beautiful appearance. Especially that pair of charming eyes, which was the most attractive. Clearly, it was wrapped with a layer of coquettish eyes. But in the depths of her eyes, it was like the winter frost. If one looked closely, one's scalp would tingle and tremble. Xian loved this pair of eyes. A person's eyes were the easiest to reveal a person's emotions. However, he was unable to see through Luo's heart. On the contrary, he was attracted to her. Luo felt goosebumps all over her body from his stare, and wanted to break free from his hand. But Xian suddenly hugged her shoulders tightly. The next second her chin was lifted. The man's cold thin lips had already covered her lips. For lips touched, the cold touch instantly dissipated between the two of them. What replaced it was a ball of blazing hot breath. Luo's eyes widened, the temperature of her lips gradually rising. It was until the man's large palm pressed against her slender waist that Luo suddenly regained her senses. A trace of embarrassment surfaced on her face. Luo raised her palm and fiercely slammed towards Xian's chest. The man who was stealing her scent was extremely sensitive to avoid it. Little thing, you are really fickle. Xian's slender fingers caressed his thin red lips. The tip of his tongue licked a bit, seemingly unsatisfied. No matter what, I am also your savior. Is this how you repay your savior? This action successfully angered Luo. I will repay kindness, but it does not mean that I will repay with my body. She gritted her teeth, propped up her body and raised her palm to strike. Damn it! And this was the first time someone dared to tease her. But the hand that was raised high had not had the time to swing down. Her small hand was grasped by a large and thick palm. 5 fingers forcefully and domineeringly inserted into her 5 fingers. 10 fingers interlocked. The profound qi in her body seemed to be suppressed by something, unable to be released. Little thing, take a look, what is this? Xian leaned close to Luo's delicate body, held their tightly interlocked hands, and pointed at their fingers. Both of them wore the same ring on their ring fingers. When the 10 fingers intertwined, the red light on the ring seemed to be tightly intertwined with each other. Do you still remember the words this lord had said? Xian's brows narrowed slightly as his peach blossom eyes sparkled with an intoxicating luster. Looking at the profound phoenix ring, Luo's ears seemed to ring with the words she heard that day at Heavenly Fortune Inn. Since you've accepted this sovereign's ring, you're now this sovereign's person. What Xian was trying to express was that she was his woman. Xian, you force me to form a blood pact with the profound phoenix ring. It has nothing to do with me. Luo gave a cold humph as she decisively distanced herself from him. I'm not anyone's accessory, I'm only mine. She didn't belong to anyone and didn't want to rely on anyone. Only by using one's own hands to create the future was the most realistic. Xian squinted his eyes, reflecting an amused smile. It was no wonder he had fallen for her at first sight. It was indeed different. The smile in Xian's eyes deepened. In fact, you have indeed accepted this sovereign's ring. Luo gritted her teeth, too lazy to argue with him. This man was really her nemesis. She wasn't someone who easily revealed her emotions, but Xian could easily provoke all her emotions. Seeing her gloomy face, she remained silent for a long time. Xian chuckled softly. His slender fingers stroked Luo's palm bit by bit. Chapter 72. Damn. This was definitely a fake Dizun. Did he have to be so shameless? Luo's expression congealed as her charming eyes met the man's eyes. The dignified overlord is pestering a weak girl. Could it be that I have something that interests the overlord? She wasn't so narcissistic to think that Xian was attracted to her beauty, falling in love at first sight, and falling in love again. Such a Mary Sue scenario would never happen to her. The only possibility was she had something that Xian needed. Only benefits would make a high and mighty man extend a helping hand to a girl he didn't even know. A flash of astonishment flashed across the depths of Xian's eyes. Soon after, his thin lips curled into a devilish smile. Little thing, you're really smart. I like smart girls like you. So, what do you like about me? Sure enough, he had other motives. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly as she pondered about what she had that was worth Mo Xian's attention. Azure Dew bracelet? Shouldn't be possible. The Azure Dew bracelet was the Yi family's heirloom and could only be contracted by those with the Yi family's bloodline. Even if Mo Xian took it away, it would just be an ordinary bracelet. Dragon God Cauldron? Not possible. Mo Xian didn't even bat an eyelid when he gave her the profound phoenix ring. He shouldn't be lacking in alchemy equipment. These two legendary artifacts seemed to be the most valuable ones on her. What did Mo Xian fancy? Little thing, since you're so smart, then guess well. If you guess correctly, this lord will tell you. A low chuckle sounded in her ears. Cold thin lips pressed against her earlobe. The man's elegant sandalwood scent, and that cold touch, inexplicably made Yiqing Luo think of that kiss just now. If I guess correctly, do I need you to tell me? Yiqing Luo flew into a rage out of humiliation. Damn it. This was simply too suffocating. She couldn't beat Mo Xian, so she could only let him take advantage of her. She was too weak. In this era where the strong preyed on the weak, only by becoming stronger than others could one have the qualifications to step on others. If I don't tell you, how will you know that you guessed correctly? Mo Xian's face was full of smiles, as he admired that peerless countenance with incomparable delight. Under his words, he was almost driven mad. This little fellow was really interesting. It had been a long time since anyone could pique his interest. Seeing the little guy going crazy, he felt like he was teasing a little pet. Mo Xian retracted the brilliance in his eyes as his palm supported Yiqing Luo's face. Little thing, something like the profound heart jade can't be formed just because you say so. You can extend the time limit just because you say so. What does that mean? If you want the time limit of the profound heart jade to be extended, you must always be together with this lord. Mo Xian's thin lips curled up frivolously, the corners of his long and narrow eyes rippling with light. You. Yiqing Luo was just about to berate him for being so thick-skinned to the point of throwing away his moral integrity, just to stay behind. In her mind, Old Man Song's voice suddenly resounded. Girl, what he said is the truth. Yiqing Luo was puzzled as she asked in her heart. Why do you say that? The profound heart jade that he formed for you is a part of the energy extracted from his own profound heart jade and transferred to you. In other words, his profound heart jade is the parent body of the profound heart jade in your body. In other words, the profound heart jade in her heart right now was the energy that was split from Mo Xian's profound heart jade. If Mo Xian was by her side, the profound heart jade in her body could be controlled. Chapter 73. Wasn't this forcefully binding her and Mo Xian together? Yiqing Luo really wanted to howl with backbone. Sister vows to die rather than submit. She would rather not have Mo Xian's profound heart jade than to be involved with this dangerous person. But she admitted defeat. From Old Man Song's words, she also understood. Looking at the entire Nirvana realm, she was afraid that there wouldn't be a second person who could help her form a profound heart jade. Even if she found one, that person might not be willing to form a profound heart jade for her. She might not be willing to be bound to that person. Before she found her own profound heart jade, she could only accept Mo Xian's help. I'm also too lazy to chase you away. You can stay if you want. Yiqing Luo looked up, her tone solemn. But my matters, you better not interfere. This man was too powerful, too unfathomable. With such a man by her side, if she couldn't control the consequences, it was very likely that she would be controlled by him for life. Mo Xian's eyes were dark. His thin lips curled up as he teased. A few days ago, who was the one who took this lord's clothes and used it to intimidate others? Yiqing Luo suddenly frowned, her gaze piercing straight towards Mo Xian's heart like an arrow. You investigated me? Little thing to say investigated, this is too serious. Mo Xian lazily leaned on Yiqing Luo's side. This lord only let wind protect you in secret. Protection? Damn. She was almost beaten to death several times, but didn't see that black-clad youth appear? What kind of protection was that? To put it bluntly, it was surveillance. It seemed that Diemo Xian cared a lot about something on her. Too lazy to argue with him, Yiqing Luo rolled her eyes. Also, don't call me little thing. Although I'm not as graceful as other girls of the same age, but I still have what I deserve. 15 years old, in ancient times, was already the age for marriage. Calling him little thing, could it be that Diemo Xian was already an old man? She stared at Diemo Xian's face for a long time. No matter how she looked, this face looked like it was in its 20s. Could it be that Diemo Xian's profound grade was at least above sky profound? In his memories, profound practitioners above the sky profound realm would be able to retain their youthful looks once they reached a certain realm. And it was highly possible that Diemo Xian was an old man in his 70s or 80s. Diemo Xian did not know what she was thinking. He only felt that Yiqing Luo's bold and unpretentious words were very interesting. He laughed out as his vision swept past a certain part of Yiqing Luo. This lord really can't tell where you have it. Pooey. Yiqing Luo spat at him unhappily. Although it wasn't big, it definitely wasn't small either, okay? Furthermore, this thing had to be in the right size, so that it would look more coordinated, right? If you don't call me little thing, then I'll call you a Luo. Diemo Xian's index finger lightly touched the tip of her nose. A Luo should also call my name in this way. Yiqing Luo acutely discovered that when Diemo Xian said this sentence, he had already abandoned the self-address of this lord. Did this mean that he had already discarded his identity in front of her? Calling his name? A Xian. Yiqing Luo felt a chill down her spine as goosebumps formed all over her body. She turned her head away, showing a look that she didn't want to talk to him. Diemo Xian's peach blossom eyes narrowed slightly, but spontaneously continued the previous topic. Don't worry. I like to see the process of you slowly becoming stronger. Naturally, I will not intervene in any of your matters. If he intervened, there would be no such fun little thing. This tone, made Yiqing Luo's slender brows tightly knit together. Why did it feel like he was coaxing a pet? Chapter 74. Perhaps it was because he had just come out of the Azure Dew bracelet, and concocting pills had consumed too much of his energy. Afterwards, he was injured by Yi Tianquang. Not long after, he was extremely sleepy. Yiqing Luo simply couldn't be bothered about Diemo Xian's existence, as she shut her eyes and went straight to sleep. In a daze, Yiqing Luo only felt that her body was as light as a feather, floating and floating. After floating for an unknown amount of time, she finally felt her feet touch the ground. She immediately opened her eyes and blinked blankly. After seeing everything clearly, Yiqing Luo was totally dumbfounded. His pupils dilated infinitely, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. The place she was at was actually a battlefield that was covered in corpses and blood. The surroundings were shrouded in raging flames. The war drums were beating, and the shouts were hoarse. The countless figures on the battlefield faced each other with their swords and sabers. Profound chi soared into the sky. This was no ordinary battle. Instead, it was a battle between two profounders. Yiqing Luo's brows creased slightly, as she couldn't understand what the hell was going on. Just as he was about to pull over a soldier beside him, who was about to rush into the battlefield, he wanted to ask about it. However, his outstretched hand went right through the soldier. Holy shit! What the hell? Yiqing Luo's eyes widened as she raised her hand. Had she turned into a ghost, or had she met a ghost? Hey, where are you guys? Can you see me? Yiqing Luo jumped in front of a soldier and waved her hands in front of him. However, the soldier also directly passed through her, roaring as he charged into the battlefield. No one could see her, no one could touch her. Yiqing Luo tried to call out to Old Man Song, but no matter how she called out, she couldn't get any response at all. In this unfamiliar place, Yiqing Luo was unable to ascertain her safety. She didn't dare to rashly extract her divine sense into the Azure Dew bracelet. Just as she was filled with confusion, a sudden burning sensation started to burn her heart. Yiqing Luo's face turned pale as she suddenly clutched her chest. No, something was not right. What hurt was not the heart but the profound heart jade. A powerful force was currently pressing down on her profound jade heart. What was going on? It was just a nap. How could he sleepwalk in his sleep? Roar, roar. A sharp beast roar broke through the sky. All the profound practitioners on the battlefield stopped what they were doing when they heard this roar. A powerful aura instantly enveloped the entire battlefield. The roar grew louder and louder. His roar shook the earth and the mountains. With another roar, the ground cracked. Yi Qing Luo clutched her chest with one hand, enduring the bursts of scorching pain from her profound jade heart. Her complexion was pale, as she looked towards the direction where the voice came from. What kind of beast was roaring? He was actually able to shock the hundreds of thousands of profound practitioners present. No matter if it was her past or present life, Yi Qing Luo had at most seen 200 to 300 people. Because of her one sentence, they froze on the spot, not daring to move. Hundreds of thousands of profound practitioners were in a deadlock on the battlefield, where blood flowed like a river. It was an incomparably magnificent sight. Whether that wild beast was friend or foe was still unclear. But Yi Qing Luo wasn't that nervous, only feeling curious. Anyway, no one on the battlefield could see or touch her. Perhaps this beast was her opportunity to return to the Nirvana realm. Thinking of this, Yi Qing Luo was even more curious about that wild beast. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the roar of the wild beast gradually stopped. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.